Alrighty. Hello and welcome to Zaxria. My name is Billy Hyde, and this is our homebrew D&D campaign that I run with some family and friends here. Before we get started though, just like last week, as we're going to start doing more for the sessions, we do have some player intros for those of you that are tuning in for the first time or watching to give a listen to. So go ahead and enjoy those, and then we will be right back.
Greetings, I'm Dean Archimedes, founder of the Keep and mentor to every generation of Keepers since its creation. But that's all you need to know about me. There are many other things you must know. The world is Zaxria, a place once torn from shore to shore during the eradication. A period of time, nearly 220 years ago, when mass-spread chaos laid waste to the entire world. That was until order was restored. In the 43rd year of the eradication, the Keep was established. The Keep, being an institution dedicated to shaping honorable and good men and women into the Keepers of Zaxria. They are the mightiest of heroes, of different backgrounds, all joined together to defeat the evil that constantly tries to throw Zaxria into chaos. It is currently the 75th year of the Epoch of Peace. They have already faced hardships of which previous generations have never seen. But they are nothing compared to what lies ahead of them. A world of deep history filled with diversity, culture, and teeming with life. Zaxria is made up of a variety of kingdoms and continents. The central mainland is Aphelia. The west of Aphelia is home to the breathtakingly tall redwood trees of Norway. Here resides the elves that protect the forest by any means necessary. Opposite that, to the far east, is the great Brimshire mountain range, where deep inside lies the mighty dwarven stronghold of Yoldgard. A long venture southeast of Aphelia, across the gorgeous yet treacherous waters of the Clem Sea, you'll find yourself on the continent of Azash, in the tropical jungles, where the proud Bengaran people live and pursue a life to one day be worthy of returning to the Beastlands in their truest form. To the far west, across miles of ocean, there is a chain of islands, where the prosperous human kingdom of Southbrook rules the sea with their formidable naval armada. Then, somewhere to the far, far north of Aphelia, amidst the Dragon's Maw Ocean, the Dragonborn reside amongst an island that many leave but few can find. They chose to stay in isolation after eradication for fear of something similar ever happening again. Lastly, floating in the northeast, a land of nothing but frigid cold and endless winter. Now that you know more about Zaxria, let me introduce you to the heroes that safeguard it.
Hi guys, I'm Connor Kepler. I used to think of myself as a normal guy. I just wanted to live a normal life, held with my grandfather in his study in the city of Southbrook. Since a very young age, I've been raised by Grandpa Edmund, who took me in after my parents' deaths not too long after I was born. Grandpa Edmund is a well-known astronomer and educator. From a young age, I became a student under my grandpa instead of attending a normal school with the rest of the children. I can remember from a young age, wizards and educators of the sort would visit my grandpa on many occasions to learn and seek his counsel. My life was normal, that is until my powers manifested. The first instance of this probably happened somewhere around 15 or 16 years ago. Something happened inside of me that I cannot explain. But the easiest way for me to try and explain it is that the galaxy and I became one. Almost anything and everything I have learned, along with things I have not, about the galaxy became clear. The sheer amount of information that I took in left me lost. For a long time I shut myself away. Then, one day, another student came to seek my grandfather's counsel. This person showed a layout that spanned across the whole room of Zaxria's galaxy. Upon looking at this site, everything started connecting together. Constellations began showing themselves, and the ley lines of the galaxy began connecting together once again. My eyes changed colors from a newborn sun's glow, then to the glow of a moon, and lastly a twinkling of the stars. I was then able to use really basic magics. Stars, asteroids, black holes, anything to do with outer space, that's my thing. Since joining the Keep, I have found a new sense of pride and duty. People normally refer to me as the smart guy in the group, reading books and even straightening up a library once or twice. My quest to the Keep started as a journey for love. Then recently, it's taken a change since I died. Yes, literally died. going to fight a shadow beholder no less named Tenebris. Thankfully, my pal Finn, who is also a keeper, was able to resurrect me through time magic, with the help of a secret society, of course. Although, that came with a catch. I would only have 16 years to live, so now I would like to gather as much knowledge as I can. Along our journey so far, I found a book with detailed, ancient, and long-lost spells that only those with my powers can obtain. There are more out there, and I would enjoy learning them in hopes of growing my powers and helping those in need.
Greetings. I am a sentient knight of the Eandros Protectorate, but my friends call me Skip. I'm a warforged that stands roughly 8 feet tall, but don't let my size fool you or scare you. I am here to help. When it comes to my past, it's a little hazy to say the least. I know that I come from a long-lost city named Eandros, somewhere in the islands of Southbrook. According to Zaxrian history, it does not exist, and those who have any recollection of it have long since passed. From what I've been told, I am at least 250 years old, and I guess this is a long time. For me, I've never really focused on this thing people call time. I remember the city flooding long ago, and I searched for it, but wasn't able to find it. Instead, what I found was the shores of Aphelia. It led me to the keep. While there, my entire existence and what I stood for, the things I believed in, it all changed. I found Aphelia during my time there, the goddess of love, life, and hope. She showed me what it is to be kind and to feel. It has all been strange to experience, but I gained many friends that I consider to be my family since my time at the keep. I became a keeper of Zaxria through many hardships with them, and we have lost people. I remember what it felt like when we thought we lost Connor. I never want to feel that way again, so I vowed to protect every one of my friends, and all those who cannot protect themselves. When I found Aphelia, I gained much more than just feelings of love, anger, and joy. I have begun to experience things Connor has called dreams. Dreams where I see a human man. He is a soldier, a husband, and a father. His name is Timothy. But who is he, and why do I keep having these dreams from his perspective? I have vowed to protect Zaxria, but with these new emotions, I also have become curious. And I seek answers. Answers about myself, about medicine, how to help better, how to be better.
Hello, friend, and the Malar bless you. My name is Moldrak. I've always felt an attachment to nature and the elements. I'm a Bengaran, a proud people who've evolved from beasts and typically thrive in the humid jungles of Azash. But I never grew up in Azash like most Bengaran. A few generations ago, there was some disagreement, and my grandfather, along with a few others, left the jungles. We wandered until settling down on an island in the frozen tundras of the north. My grandfather said that it made him feel alive. We existed in peace, until one day we were forced out of our village by the frost giants who roamed the frozen tundras of the north. We barely made it to the shore in time, one of them barreling towards us with his large club just in reach to slam it down upon us. I yelled as loud as I could and threw my hands up, bracing for impact, but there was no impact. Instead, I opened my eyes to find a wall of ice between us and the giant. The villagers said that when I threw my hands up, the wall of ice appeared, but it just left me confused. It was after that I began to discover my talents for controlling the elements. I knew I needed to get stronger and to learn more. When we reached Aphelia, I was told of the Keep, a place where heroes are born, where they go to gain strength, honor, and glory. They could hang on to the last two, but I needed to get stronger to protect my tribe. I promised them that I would return strong enough to take back our home. But at the Keep, something happened. My tribe grew. I met a group of people who I could trust with my life, and who I would give my life to protect. And we even became keepers. It wasn't really my goal, but if it gets me closer to being able to protect my people, then so be it. Struggling and fighting against great evils, I knew strength alone would not be enough. I needed to train my mind and to learn more about my abilities. To find someone like me is rare, but the teacher might just give me the edge I need against that beast.
These are right. Welcome back. We'll turn this down a little bit. There we go. Alrighty. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, picking up where we had last left off. You had all made your way across the sea a while ago, leaving Aphelia and heading towards the continent of Azash, where the Bengaran capital city of Arkest was. They requested your help, and along that way came across several things upon the continent of Azash, being over, across seas for a year and a half at this point, now that you're returning. Returning back from Azash, from Port Krista, to go to Port Creed, along your way, you came across a wreckage. There were broken crates, barrels floating around, a ship that had been torn asunder. You came across one survivor by the name of Simon Grexel, a human male, kind of older, who was from Southbrook, the ship that was coming to Aphelia. He was trying to come here for work and start a business. In doing so, though, found himself in some sort of hardship along the way and had lost all of his work, all of his supplies and everything. Told you he is a master kind of carpenter, woodworker, things of that nature. Described to you in detail kind of what attacked him, essentially, and the crew that he was with. Crew of ghostly pirates that took no effect by any blade that the crew had. They stood no chance, so he hid below deck and then stormed toward the ship apart. You guys also had come across this kind of pirate crew type ship. Connor had demonstrated the power that he is beginning to, come in grips with and is starting to manifest within him. Whether it be the power that he's learning or through the staff that he has gained, he's unsure of, but nonetheless, you guys were able to defeat the pirate crew. The ship didn't even sink or anything, it just dissipated and evaporated with the sea. Along the journey as well, you also kind of heard Hawthorne singing this little bit of a song about, returning home. Spoke with him a little bit, had a little bit of a nice talk, and then found yourselves at sea again, traveling more and more. Till now, you can see in the distance Port Creed. Prior to this, though, Skip, walking amongst the upper deck of the ship about a week prior to this current state where everyone is. It's peaceful, the water's beautiful and calm. You feel the sun kind of shining. You can feel the warmth of the sun against your metal armor and skin. Take a bit of a rest, sit on a crate or something, flip through your book of artwork and your blank prayer book and all of the scriptures and stuff, your book of Aphelia. You come across a couple of pages you don't recognize, pages that you previously remember being blank. You look at the text and see that there are spells written upon the pages. Some you already know, but for some reason they are laid out before you in this prayer book with the symbol of Aphelia at the bottom, kind of that heart with the 3 rays above it, almost like a signature. There's 2 spells and they're not laid out with these arcane glyphs and runes. They're just kind of like these scriptures that put forth your kind of divine energy. The spell Aid and then the spell Aura of Vitality are both on there, and then also a prayer that's kind of following it. No matter how dim or bright, always be a beacon of light in the darkness. You kind of read it, think to it to yourself, think of, even just recently what had happened with the pirate crew and stuff, and then we come back to where we are now. Port Creed in the distance. You are all at the bow looking off into the distance at the port itself. There are no ships that are docked currently, kind of birds slowly flying over the water. The port has several docks, but not much going on upon the actual land itself. There's the tavern, the storehouse. You can see looking around more that it appears large amounts of land have been plowed over and leveled out since you have been gone, as if they're going to begin building more upon it or something. But over at the tavern, you don't see anyone, but you can see over at the storehouse what appears to be 3 humanoids just kind of sitting around. As you look over, one of them sets down a crate as he looks at you and kind of looks over you very intently just to kind of see who has arrived. You watch him kind of trail off and kind of disappear into the distance, and then you bring your attention back over towards the dock as you're, beginning to come into the actual port and dock. The crew starts jumping off, getting ready to tie things down, grabbing rope and whatnot. Andrew, you help tie down a couple of the sails that have been brought up. Over the last couple of weeks also, you have noticed a little bit of a chill in the temperature, but it's kind of hard to recognize as it was gradual, kind of along the journey. Now every now and then you find yourself bundling up a little bit to the cooler weather. Swift wind kind of picks up and you don't really notice too much, but then upon finally docking and looking, you notice there's not like snowfall, but almost like a very, very light drizzle of rain in the distance that is slowly becoming more prevalent where you are right now. You can see the ground itself has little bits of almost like slush in some spots where there was previous some form of ice or snow or something, and the rain is beginning to kind of pour down onto it. And just the ambient temperature is beginning to melt all of that away, as is the appropriate weather with the month that you were in the month of Urzeth. You were in the 7th of Urzeth. Alright. As this occurs, you all kind of get off and step onto the dock now, and can see Captain Hawthorne gets off of the boat and stands in front of all of you. Oh, well, keepers, it has been interesting taking you across the sea on this journey that we have had together. Maybe someday we shall set sail and nothing will happen while we are out there. Yes? Wishful thinking. He kind of smiles, grins, and looks over towards all of you, and is now at this point kind of walking over and grabbing each of your hands and kind of shaking them very, very gingerly and with like a little bit of, oomph, just kind of giving. He's like looking you in the eye as he's speaking, kind of shakes your hand as he's going down the line a little bit. It's still been a pleasure, and I would not have it any other way. I would do it again if the opportunity presented itself. I admire all of you more than you know. There was a time where I had nothing but love for Zaxria, and all I wanted to do was give back to it. But things occur in life sometimes we cannot control. And I hope that, despite the things that will happen to you, you will continue to see Zaxria with love in your heart. Stand a little taller, walk with more pride, smile just a little bit bigger when you are happy. The weight you have upon your shoulders is heavier than anyone could ever understand. Make it easier to carry. Surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that have the same goals and wishes you do. Take it from someone with a heavy past. Do not let anything get in the way of what you have. Family is not measured only in blood, keepers. Kind of gives him a notch 7 order. Turns around, starts walking off. As he begins to walk toward the tavern, he kind of then turns back towards you, looks a little hesitantly. You ever see Siegfried again? Tell him I forgive him for everything. I hope that one day he will do the same. He then turns around, holding a bottle of wine in his hand. As he makes his way towards the tavern, the crew steps off and begins to join him and walk off. All of you now at the dock, the 4 of you, Simon Brexel, Orem, and Muldrek are all standing there amongst each other. What do you wish to do? At this point, you do notice a little bit of rain begins to come in.
What's the time of day?
The time of day is probably close to 2 in the afternoon, just a little bit past noon.
Move on, or hopefully this will pass.
Yeah, I know. You want to waltz me on? I don't really know where I'm going, so just following your lead.
You notice that the rainfall is very, very light. It doesn't seem like it's anything too intense. It is a little bit of like a drizzle. You do see breaks in the clouds every now and then, so it's definitely travelable if you were to wish to do so.
Are we ready to go?
Feels like a plan to me.
Let's get on our way then.
As you are about 4 or 5 days, yeah.
I'll get to take food and water.
So as Skip kind of stands there, takes the holy symbol and kind of pulls this energy out, throws it out in front of him. It kind of sprinkles into this golden energy that you've all similarly seen before, and from it, Warforce kind of sprouts, stands up. He jumps up on top of it as it takes form. Orem, all of you kind of now standing about, he takes a couple steps forward as to get in front of everyone and kind of gather your attention. A little bit of a troubled look on his face. You can see sadness in his eyes. So, this pains me deeply, but I have been thinking a lot lately of home, of Mordred, of myself even. For so long I never fit in anywhere and never really knew who I was or what I would do. Then I found the keep. You guys. People I trust more than my own flesh and blood. You're all like brothers to me. And he kind of puts a hand over and pats it on the Connor's shoulder. You see him kind of sniffle a little bit, and you watch you don't know if it's rain or if it's an actual tear, but on the side of his face looks a little wet. But if the darkness that we were warned about is coming, I feel I must prepare a little better. I haven't been in my right head or state of mind. Don't feel the connection I used to the Moradin, and things are a bit fuzzy every now and then, and I don't feel... I need more time. I need to be more ready. Before I can go do that, I must go to Yoldgard, to my mother, see her, and then to Teneveth for more guidance. Or probably Teneveth first, and then Yoldgard, but I can't really go to the keep right now. When the time comes, I'll be there. I just feel the things I must do, I have to do on my own. I cannot protect Zaxria with my mind in this state. My heart is heavy because I'll miss all of you, but I know this is what must be done. He kind of walks over and leans over towards Andrew. You feel his hand as it's coming towards you, has a little bit of a shake to it. Puts the hand on the shoulder. You feel him kind of rub gently and kind of pull you in a little bit, give you like a strong hug. Goes over to Connor, does the same. Begins walking to kind of everybody individually. Keep him safe, alright? Kind of pats you on the back, walks over, gives you a hug.
As he's going around Connor's
That's me, I remember many goals before, and it definitely was an honor meeting you, and my pleasure. I'll see you again sometime.
We will. When the opportunity presents itself, they're a good group to be around. They're in good hands. Kind of pat you on the back, and then looks over toward you.
As he's going around, Connor's going to give the slime card. So it's like a memento.
Takes it from him. Throws no power, sits it in there. Not to get in too much trouble.
Good luck on your journey. I hope you'll find what you're looking for. Okay?
I will. I'll be back.
If you go,
It's not too long.
you're going to Teneveth, regular health for Christmas. It should be able to help you out.
I will.
It's already set up.
Certainly. Kind of sits for a moment, looks everyone over, smiles, still wetness on his cheeks, unsure if it's rain or tears. I love you guys. You're like family. More of a family than I ever had. Don't get yourselves killed.
No promises.
As Orem begins to walk off, he kind of goes to the left side of Port Ruumanheim, down a separate road towards Teneveth. and you can see the road heading northbound toward the keep. From here, as I said, it is roughly, or as Connor had mentioned also, 4.5 to 5 days. So, is there anything you want to do before setting out? Anybody? Alright. Ooh, excuse me. All right. So, the first day of travel, you find yourselves a little saddened, uh, heavy-hearted, to say the least. But you also know that in your own heart that it is probably best and for the best. You have noticed over the last couple of months since you've been on the Zash, Orm really hasn't been in his same state of mind that he was when you knew him before. Although he's soft-spoken, he's easy to read at times, and you knew that there was something that needed to be done, and maybe this is it that could bring him back to you in the same way, and the best Orm that he could possibly be. You've noticed him in this kind of stupor and a little bit of a down mood since you guys were in Yolgard a while ago, and he spoke to you of his mother and seeing her in the state that she was. Nonetheless, though, it's been over a year since you've been in Aphelia. So traveling over the sea, being in Zash for several months, and then traveling back at least a year and a half. So it is nice to be in familiar land and familiar territory as you are now here. There's a little bit of a homecoming kind of feeling where you get a little warm, cozy sensation every now and then, but for you, Apex, it's strange. The land is wet, which you're familiar with. Rain is common within Azash, but it's a little frigid at times when the wind blows. You find yourself looking around at endless fields of grass. There's not very many trees, as opposed to Azash, where it's this dense jungle type climate and environment and everything. And now you find yourself in what appears to be a sea of grass almost. There's the occasional bush or small tree, but other than that, on that first day, you see nothing but vast amounts of grass. The roads here also are not paved or anything, obviously, and they don't have like rocks in them, but they are a lot more traversed, so there's more foot traffic, the dirt's more tore up, the wagon wheels are more prevalent in the actual road itself. You guys are all kind of sitting around, looking at one another, just relaxing by the fire. The second day comes upon you, and you are in a little more better spirits. The familiarity of the land, and although it's not like this tropical like climate weather, it's refreshing as you're not sweating profusely all of the time. Now being relaxed, you kind of feel relief. There's no current distress at the moment. Yes, many things kind of cross your mind, especially for Ander and Connor. The both of you still, in the back of your mind, are seeing those eyes that you saw when leaving the den of Ferrix in that hall within the city of Masai, when you saw the Harbinger and spoke to him. Kind of get drawn back every now and then, find yourselves looking amongst one another, and you and Connor almost look at one another every now and then and think, like, there's just this kind of look like, yeah, I'm also still thinking about it. Several months later, you even find yourselves at night waking up, not in like a cold sweat, but you just kind of wake up just from seeing those eyes while you're asleep and just wake up, look around, and then fall right back asleep. Now, traveling, as nothing is trying to kill you currently, you are at ease. You're able to kind of take in the surroundings. The rain has gone. There is a little bit of a rainbow in the distance as the sun is starting to peek up on this day. The night before, you probably would have rested under some sort of cover if possible, as the rain would have been coming down. The ground itself, although it is wet and kind of damp, and the mud in the actual pathway, it's pretty nice traveling. You can see flowers are not like beginning to bloom or anything, but there's like little bits of wild flowers that are starting to almost grow and come into some spots. This is the time of year where it's no longer cold and is now beginning to get into almost like a spring type of a feel where everything's kind of melting away. You're starting to see a lot more rain fall this time of year. Everyone's preparing their crops for the season that is appropriate to this. Travel persists, and you are now kind of stopping by the roadside to camp on this third day, probably 3.5 days into your travel. You feel relaxed, but you also feel kind of tired as you're walking and walking and walking and walking. There's conversation that occurs and happens every now and then. For you guys, it's easy to start a fire. It's nearly getting to begin to be nighttime as it begins to fall. Excuse me. It's about 50 to 60 degrees when night falls, so it's not bad, but at times you do find yourselves huddling around the fire. Still in your company also is Simon Grexel. He keeps to himself. Doesn't really speak unless spoken to. Helps gather firewood, carries some belongings, and smiles from time to time at you as you guys kind of catch glances. He gives a good, hearty smile. The sun has completely set at this point, and the surroundings are silent. The night sky full of stars, and Connor, as you look up to this, you can see that there is a completely full moon. You see that there is a completely full moon. You kind of feel this warmth go through your body, almost as if there's like power kind of coursing through your veins as you look up to it, seeing this connection, staring at the moon, feeling connected, and you can't help but think, almost as if someone else you are thinking of is staring at it in this moment or has seen it previous. You still feel like a slight drain every now and then, just thinking of your exhausted state after, casting the spell. Still unsure of if it was the staff or if it was the nature of the spell. If you could for me make an intelligence check. 13? Okay. All of the warnings that are presented within the compendium that you have, they're not listed in the small little what you have is very top layer of what the actual book is. The book is very in depth. There's several pages that correlate with every spell, and about halfway through it every time it kind of there's a disclaimer. Yeah, there's one disclaimer that's saying please be wary if you are to continue doing this. So your best inclination at this point would be is possibly the spell that had drained you, just not being familiar to harness all of that power and wield it. So you would imagine it's probably coming from the spell. Could be the staff too. Could be a combination of both that had done it too. But your best bet is probably the spell that had drained you. You do also know that over time it will not be like that. It's not going to be like that forever. It's just that overwhelming amount right away. Yeah, it was literally the next day.
That was trial by fire, I guess.
Yeah, no pun intended. All right. As that kind of exhaustion fades away more and more as time goes on, fire kind of crackles in front of all of you, and you sit around with one another, just kind of staring intently out at each other. So, when we reach Zakip, am I to stay at Zakip, or am I I do not. I can hint at Brunswick. I did not know. I've never been to Aphelia, so I did not know the territory or the land very well.
That's completely up to you. I mean, you can make your own choices. We were just heading to the keep because Apex needs to have their customer small business. We're escorting them and figured if you needed a job or something, we could probably help you out there. Or if you want to go to Brunswick, you can choose to go there too.
Yeah, I appreciate the freedom to make the choice. uh, in your opinion, so Brunswick or the keep or anywhere else?
The keep is a lot safer than Brunswick. Per se. You'll be taken care of there.
Still sounds better than the keep is. You kind of gives a nod. Anything you guys want to do? You only have about 2 more days of travel before you are back at the keep.
Seems actually great for have to find my binder to actually write it down, but yeah.
Anything in particular?
No.
Okay.
Not particularly very yet, like I said. Sorry, my stuff. So I can figure it out over there.
I was wondering if I just left it.
Alrighty. So, as you awake, you begin your next day of travel. It is kind of glum, the very overcast, cloudy, dark clouds. You could almost hear a slight rumble in the distance. You feel a bit of a chill in the air, and as you hear that light rumble in the distance, looking off toward the west, you can see a sizable storm cloud. You begin picking up your gear and heading toward the keep once more. Traveling for about 3 hours, rain begins to come down. It starts coming down heavily. Thunder starts to kind of encompass everything around you. It's almost the only thing you can hear is the rain and the thunder that's coming down. The rain is cold also. As it hits your body, it kind of gives you like a slight chill, and you kind of bundle up a little bit every now and then. The rain begins to pour and pour consistently and begins to come down harder and harder. It rains in such a way that about 30 feet out in front of you, you can't see much of anything. You're still on the road heading in the right direction. You know that for sure, just because the road is quite large and it's hard to kind of veer off of it if you were to. And you would feel the spongy grass beneath your feet as opposed to this kind of quicksandy, almost mud that you're now stepping in. It is raining pretty hard, and it's had difficult to hear everyone, each other every now and then. But continue to kind of push forward, bundled up close to one another, walking forward. You can see Modric just kind of standing up as the rain just pours down over him. Skip also just kind of standing up as the rain just bounces off. Everybody else every now and then is finding themselves just kind of bundling up or covering themselves and grabbing some sort of clothing to bundle up with. You are a little chilly. You are not used to this. You're used to rain, but you're used to kind of like humid environment and temperature where the rain is not bad. It's just kind of makes you feel almost sticky and like muggy. But this is chilly. The rain begins to pour down. You can feel it on your shoulders as it drips down the kind of fur shoulder pads that you have, like those tribal-looking shoulder pads. Your body is pretty much exposed as you have nothing but like this kind of shawl harness and a necklace and some shoulder pads. Your upper half is a little chilly as you're bundling up. You guys can see Apex is almost like naked out here, has nothing on his top half, just has like the shoulder pads.
I look like a very fur coat. The cape. Yeah, put it around his shoulders.
You feel huge metallic hands kind of wrap around and bundle you up as this huge black kind of fur cape covers you up.
Oh, it feels good. One day.
You looked a tiny bit cold.
Yeah, just a little.
Still down bundled up. If I could, as you guys continue to travel, everybody make a perception check with disadvantage. You have to be holding the shield, so it's just yeah.
Not one. Fifteen.
What?
Only two.
All right. So. Awesome, right? That hurts. All right. So 22 for both of you. 11. Skip, you got a what? 11. So you got 11. 13, 15. Okay.
Close.
So continuing on, you the two of you cannot see too much or hear for any matter.
See anything usually.
Yeah, the rain tinking. You can. It's just like constantly like in your ears as it hits your shoulders. There is something that you feel though at your feet, almost like wood. Kind of as you kind of step on one, you reach down, pick it up, and inspect it, and you do see that it is wood, a broken piece of wood, but you were unsure of what or what from exactly. As you all begin to walk a little further down the road, you notice more and more broken pieces of wood, but still kind of unsure of what from. The two of you, where you're standing currently, see some form of a large silhouette. It almost looks like a small hill, and then there's some form or structure or entity in front of it that is just kind of like sitting there, not moving.
Got no idea.
Sword comes out.
Something down there.
Yeah, I see something. Can't really tell what it is though.
I grab my shield off.
There's a little more light now to the area, and so it's taking up the. I'll keep my shield, but still loud. But
Yeah, probably flutters.
it does get slightly brighter, and as you see, as he kind of shines it upward, you see a faint glow that kind of flickers rapidly over there, and then goes out.
We're about to go see if it's someone we need to tell.
What do you think we should do?
Probably been checking out. It's on the way anyways.
I lead the way. I have the light.
Yeah, fair enough.
Alright. I lead the charge.
Alright, so marching order.
Probably.
Skip.
Oh, while we're walking up too, just in case, I'm gonna pop a little shield.
Okay. And where do you want to be?
I'm gonna do this.
Middle somewhere, like in front of Connor. Apex, but
Way in the
like
back.
back, like by Connor. Alright, so as Apex and Connor kind of point this out, the rain and stuff's still coming down. It's almost getting a little louder at this point, and you can feel yourself like squishing down into the mud, especially you being so heavy, like take a step, and you're having to like really try to pull your feet up. As you get a little closer though, you come upon what appears to be a wagon. A wheel missing, the side door almost looks kinked or smashed in. The cargo is scattered all over the place, this variation of basic things. Chopped firewood, blanket, a basket of dried foods, some empty barrels, all of it soaked from the rain, bits of mud over everything.
I want a door. You said it's like a
Door.
door.
The door's like, yeah, the top of it is covered, and the
Someone's
door's
the
like
water.
kicked in.
They're gonna shield there, so Skip's gonna like point the sword in there and just look down.
Go ahead and make a perception check.
I am wielding a shield. So just a normal roller.
I'd say you're a lot closer now. It's not like too far, so you have the sword and everything. Yeah, so okay.
Natural one. Okay. 22.
Okay. So as you're sitting there holding the shield up, you don't see anything, but it's almost as if the light that kind of shined up, you hear a little bit of a rattle or something move around on the inside. The window that's there has like a large chunk of stone that's actually on top of it, like crushing that part. And then the back door is like completely crushed in and doesn't look like it opens anymore. So you just kind of shine the light and hear whatever was in there. It could be some sort of a creature or it could be somebody, but they move around a little bit as the light kind of shines over. Yeah, go ahead and make a strength check to make it with advantage too. You probably have to put the shield like to your side or something, just to like.
It's not like a wisp or something. A wisp of like light or something.
Yeah, like a little bit of light flicker and then disappear.
Yeah, keep looking around. You say.
Okay, make a perception check for me, Apex. 17.
12.
12. Was that a disadvantage? Or at disadvantage, sorry.
12.
12. Okay. Alright. As you're looking around, you're kind of taking that cape and pulling it up towards you and like trying to block the rain as it's pouring down in front of your face. You can't really see 40 feet past sometimes, and there's like little bits of hills around where you're at too. So there's about 40 or so feet around you that you can kind of see. Kind of looking around, the road looks uninhabited. Nobody seems to be on it. You're looking around trying to find some source of light or something. Don't really see anything. You look over towards the wagon. I can see Skip now has made his way over. Kind of jam the sword in. As you jam the sword in, you kind of get it in a good amount, and then and you hear this loud like snapping of wood as some of it breaks and flies outward. Kind of feel like a
Right. We have the keepers of Zaxria. I'm Skip. I'm here to help you.
Is it going?
What is it?
Giant, massive cloud came through, destroyed my car. I just headed to Port Creed when it came barreling out of nowhere. I didn't notice him in the storm, and he tore it all to shreds. Took my horse, just picked it up, snacked, kept walking. I couldn't do anything.
Here, I put my arm on it.
Kind of retreats a little bit, puts his hand forward.
I grab his arm and pull him out.
Steps out of the makes his way
I
out
pull
of
my
the
shield
car.
over his head.
Yeah, you can see he's like covered in rain, kind of shivering a little bit. You see his clothing is very basic. He has like a small, kind of dirty white tunic on. Has like a little bit of a tie in the front, where the tie is not a tie, a suit tie, but the string tying it together is a little loose. These kind of baggier leather pants. His hands are a little dirty as well. He's got his hair is pretty much like a buzz cut. He's got like a little bit of a beard growing, just like a goatee. Kind of steps out.
Just put the shield over his head so he's not getting rained out.
Thanks, appreciate it.
No problem. Just, you don't want to do something warm enough. Might not. I put a random smite on my sword and just kind of hold it out.
He kind of like retreats from it, like puts his hand up as it's bright, but it's looking. Just being out of the rain helps more than anything.
I
He kind of looks out towards
I walk over with him. Come on.
You guys make your way over towards, or Skip makes his way out towards all of you as he's sitting there, kind of like looking out, now under the shield, kind of tucks underneath. Name's Jonathan.
Nice to meet you, John. As I said, I'm Skip. This is Connor, Adler, Apex, and I don't remember his name. Simon.
Moldrak is also there.
And Muldrak.
Yeah. What happened? I was just making my way to Port Creed. I was telling him. Giant came barreling out of nowhere, took his club, smashed into me cart, and picked the horse up and left. Just took it for a snack, I'm guessing. He kind of looks and is looking at the cart, and that points like east.
I look over to Muldrak. Muldrak, it's raining very hard. Do you think this thing would have left tracks?
More than likely.
Do you think you could find it?
Kind of nods. I can try it. Somebody want to roll a survival check for Moldrak.
I will. This is just a single rifle.
It's in his character sheet. I have it on here too. Just go ahead and roll it now.
I got a 17.
17? Okay, that's enough though. Oh my god. Plus 8. So,
25.
alrighty. As Moldrak makes his way kind of a little more east down this path, you guys are still kind of standing around. Kind of ducks down. So, who'd you say you were again?
We're the keepers of Zaxria. We just came back from the lodge. We were heading towards the keep, actually.
I'm just a friend of the keepers.
He gives a nod.
Same with Simon.
You keep us.
Yes, sir.
You hear Moldrak kind of in the distance. I don't see any tracks over here. He kind of tucks a little, walks over towards Connor. Well, if you're the keepers, Leland sends his regards. Goes to his side, grabs a dagger, and
Is he within
stabs
5
it
feet
into
of me?
the. I'll let you make a dexterity check,
Okay.
and then I'll make one also. And then
This isn't gonna work. It's a rogue.
gotta be 18.
I'm not beating 18. That's 13.
All right. So attack against Connor.
Completely forgot.
21.
21?
Yep. Alrighty.
Wait.
Wait, he's within 5 feet of me, so it's a disadvantage. Or a protection.
Well, your protection fee gives you the disadvantage as a reaction.
Oh, shit.
Wait,
What about protection?
You don't luck.
Whenever you are a friendly creature within. Oh, that's just
Yeah, okay, never mind.
Alright.
Oh, or defense. That one's within 5 feet. That's 1 AC.
If everybody could roll initiative.
This guy's a little close to all of us. Oh, shit. Thanks. Yeah, that's right for me as well. This way.
So this here is the token, correct? Actually, I'll do it this way. Up against the hill that it was against. Random trees. We'll go check the tracks to the east. Alrighty. 25 to 20. Nobody? Um, 20 to 15. 16, 16, 15, 16. You ain't got it. 15, 16.
I've got advantage on initiative and so it's.
So we roll for Mulder. He has a +1. Twelve. Apex, what'd you get for initiative?
12.
12. Whose dex is higher?
Probably is. Still hard rating, right?
It is still hard rain. Yep. Barrels and everything. Shit looks tore up, boys. So like a pile of wood, pretty much. And a random rock right here too. That's important. Okay, so
Blow the rock up.
for the damage against Connor. 13 points of piercing damage. As he takes the dagger and just out of nowhere, as he jumps up and slams it into your side, you feel this instant cold sensation and this like pain to your side as he yells it. It's them! Get him! And he slams up and slams the dagger forward. Their turn. Watch this guy come up from here. One more guy come up from here. Another guy from here.
Without hesitation. Good thing I have Shield of Faith on. That's before my mom died.
So, as this is kind of like this hilly type of terrain, like on the outsides of this, about 40 feet out from where you guys were, they started like coming over the sides of the hill and like running down it, making their way over. These three just kind of jump up with their crossbows, look down, and they're trying to look as best they can. Their attacks are going to be at disadvantage though, because of the rainfall. All of your range attacks, or unless something is within, we'll say, 30 feet, is going to be a disadvantage. So I think these guys are 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. Oh, that's close. So this guy's will be straight up. These guys, these two are going to shoot.
I mean, I'm glowing. They can shoot me all they want.
Oh, shit.
Because it's all money and branding and stuff, is speed decreased too.
Yes. I was doing it just for them, but yes. You guys are at half your movement speed, unless you have something that negates that, but your movement speed is halved. Dex saves are also a disadvantage. Okay, so we're gonna work our way around here. This guy here is gonna take a crossbow shot at Connor. Hits a straight though. 18 to hit. Shield. 19. Alright. This guy gonna take his crossbow shot.
I think so.
Yes. That's an 18 again. With disadvantage. This guy. Oh. Alright. That guy's gonna make an attack on Moldrak.
Just kill me. Guess that's it, that's me.
So one hit against Moldrak. Moldrak takes 11 points of slashing damage. Somebody can keep track of his stuff. So I'm gonna pin Moldrak's sheet in the Discord messages if you could. So Moldrak's at 74 health points because he just took 11 points of damage. Alright. That guy went. This guy behind Apex. 25 to hit.
Got it.
You got it. And that is 11 points of slashing damage. Gonna do this attack on Skip. Looking pretty good here. 23 to hit.
Just switch.
Okay, that's this. Attack on counter. He's in front of you. Only a dagger, but still gonna attack you. That's a, oh shit, almost crit. 26 to hit. No, to that. 9 points of piercing damage as the dagger finds its way into your side again. He just kind of stabs, yells out again, and stabs one more time. You watch this bright light coming from Skip right now as all of this radiant energy is pouring out. The guy that goes to swing behind him, Skip just kind of looks and then quickly reacts, and this bright yellow energy forms behind him that bounces the sword off. Arrows, like crossbow bolts, are like, you hear them flying and like sticking into the mud. One of them hits the barrel. It's like, Moldrak over there was getting attacked. You watch 12 or so people just pop up out of nowhere and start swarming where you guys are at right now. Skip, you are up.
I'm going to just say counter in front of me. I'm a little bit under the blade here.
Okay.
Thunder.
Alright. You guys watch as Skip takes the blade forward. It's still already glowing. Squeezes a little bit. This blue and yellow is forming of energy, and like lightning is crackling all over the blade. That hurts.
It stays on its blade.
Next attack.
I'm using it.
That's almost a crit. That's definitely gonna hit.
Let's send it home.
Jesus Christ. Alright, go ahead. Okay. Do what you want, brother. So, as he takes.
One for that. Thunder Smite.
Got way too calm.
I like the Raiders, the Veil music.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got to have a strength saving throw. Just removed, or else he gets pushed.
What's that?
Strength saving throw, he gets pushed.
Okay.
So that's just because of that.
It's a natural 2, so it's going to be a no.
Pushed.
He's getting pushed. Like a back save or something.
Oh shit.
If you hit him, he's going to go right into the counter.
I'd like to step a little bit.
Alright.
Side.
You got to think about it. There we
Something
go.
that way. So wait. Stick a little. Where's it at? There you go. Jesus Christ.
That don't help us. That's my way.
It's not that good. So
Not that bad either.
no, it's
That's
not.
what, 3 sevens?
Yeah.
Oh. 1?
No, I got 2 7s and 8.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
14, 22, 24, 25, 30.
Wait, but those first 2 are 15. And 17 more is 10, so 25. Then to the 5, the 3 more, 26.
And then plus
Plus
my
your
6. Fuck.
29 plus 6.
29, 6, yeah. 35.
Alright.
Yeah, you shut 10 feet. Thanks, bro.
35.
And then like to use the rest of my movement to kind of walk a little forward in front of Connor.
Alright. Still pouring down heavily. You don't have enough time for that first attack as the person swings at you. You just kind of look, then turn back around, kind of move to the side a little bit, still having the guy kind of your peripheral. Take the blade and just slash across the front of him as it hits like across his shoulder. You watch him like roll into the mud and slam onto the ground and then like kind of push himself back up 10 feet this way.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna walk towards him.
Walk towards Connor.
Yeah.
This guy's gonna get opportunity attack.
That's fine.
Right here.
Yep.
Okay. Opportunity attack. Yep, not gonna hit. Goes to hit you, and as you move, you just take the shield and deflect it to the side. Connor, you are up. Andrew, you are on deck.
And
just bring up this video or something. Alrighty. I'm just gonna put something on you so I remember. What's my movement? Move back. I had 15 feet, so I could probably make it to that log. In front of it or behind it?
Can I make it behind it?
Yeah, you go
I'll
right
make it behind it.
Alright, you're gonna go right there. Yep. You watch Connor kind of like behind you, you look for 1 second, then turn back around, and you watch just a bunch of stars slowly cover the area, and then he just starts walking away. Well, you don't see him walk away, but he disappears.
Really wants those splats in the mud.
You do notice like a little bit of that. Like if you were like looking intently, you could probably see that, but for the most part, like you looking back, looking forward, looking back, he's just gone. A little bit of star-like energy, and then he's gone. All right, now your turn. Andrew, you are up. You currently have 2 people right here, 2 here, 1 over here, 2 here, 4 over here, 1 over here. There's people everywhere. Rain is coming down heavily. You can really only see the people kind of surrounding you here. If you were to look behind you, you see those guys are running up at you as well. You just watch Connor disappear. What do you want to do?
This guy is Apex.
Guy behind Apex?
Right there.
You can see him. Yeah.
Ooh, he's a man. Nice. Does it really matter though? There's 24 hit.
24 hits.
$14 damage.
14 damage to that guy.
Okay, that attack missed. You gotta make a strength save. Wait, I gotta do it first. I have to do that one. There's a 32 hit by chance.
Yeah.
Just checking. You never know. How you see
Strength
guys. Yes. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna make it with a strength save.
Say not gonna
I'm not gonna make it. Roll
Are you
a 2.
sure? Okay.
I know your DC is low, but I still roll.
You get knocked back 10 feet.
Knock back 10.
And you take 7 damage. Is he dead? No? Yeah. I tried my best.
Is that your turn?
Yes.
Alright, so the first card you throw, it finds purchase in his shoulder, it makes him kind of step back a little bit. If you throw the second one, it's really hard to see, and your hand's a little heavy as you throw it. You watch this splash of water come off as the card flies through the air. The third one you take and you throw it. As you throw it, you kind of hear this light kind of like flies around and slams into his chest. He kind of like picks up in the air, and you can hear like as he flies backwards, hits into the mud. You watch mud splash up over his shoulders. There's rain pouring down from the sides of your head, just like coming down heavy. It's coming down the shoulders, on the jacket. Apex is just like covered in this water. You can see him kind of looking around now. You do watch Andrew like throw those 3 cards at the guy behind you, and then the third one hits and sends him flying backwards. You kind of look back too, and then look back over at Andrew. All right. Apex, you're up.
Bonus action kind of form the claws.
All right.
And as they're forming, hey, guys, what the fuck's going on here? We being ambushed or something? What's going on?
That's exactly what's happening.
Jeez! I just like started leaping at that guy that was just down here.
The guy that was just on there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you jump back towards him.
One of the chaosers.
Apex in front of him as he's yelling that out. You've seen him do this on the boat. He just starts like putting his hands down as he's yelling. Is still fully aware of what's going on. As he's putting his hands down, you watch this dark black goo start melting, and or not melting, but like pulling away at his flesh, and it's like twisting, kind of going into this motion where there's like these fleshy like tentacles that are going up towards his fingers, and then they start to form into these very, very sharp blades, to where he has hands that are almost like 3 to 4 times the size of his hands that are just these huge, monstrous claws. And as he kind of looks over towards you, you yell that out, and he goes, "Yeah, all right," turns around and jumps over towards the guy behind him. Go ahead and make your attack.
I'm gonna mark this guy.
What's it?
You gotta mark this guy because he pissed me off.
Alright.
So, 13.
13. 13 does not hit.
19.
19 does hit.
He rolls 18d8 to damage. Crazy.
That's a 9 slashing.
Okay.
And he's bleeding.
Alright. I'll put a red one around him because that makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I know there was one floating around. If you guys see a red. Orange it is. That way I don't forget. Just a big. That was 9, correct?
Yep.
Alright. You watch as the claw rakes up into the front of the chest, these 4 huge, like deep gashing wounds that are in the midsection now. Blood is just like slowly pooling from them. You feel the blood actually trickle off the end of the claw as you bring it back down to your side. The blood and the rain are kind of mixing and dripping together. Your claw is almost actually like raking into the ground at this point as you're standing here, like looking out intently at this person. As that happens and it slashes in front, he gets hit. He's kind of like, what the fuck? Takes the blade and is like standing there ready to attack you. Moldrak is up.
Smack him.
Smack him. Give me your roar.
Am I doing it?
Yeah, I think you're the only one that has this.
Okay. So knock some attacks, I guess.
Alright, that's a good idea. There's a guy right on top of him. Guessing that's who he's going for?
Yeah. 23.
Hits.
And the other one is 20.
Also hits. You don't have to try to do all the enhancements if you don't want to.
He gets 3 attacks. He does.
2 normal, 1 basic. Or basic.
So that's 28, I think.
The hit?
No, with both
Oh,
attacks. damage.
all together?
Yeah.
Let me see. No, they're all attacks.
Yeah, he's got 3 attacks.
And the last one's a 17.
17 does not hit. So 28.
Yeah. Oh, does he only have 1 Warhammer that's boosted?
1 more hammer is close.
Okay, so then 23 damage. Or no, I said 28, so it would be 27. So it's 24.
Alrighty. We're going to take some more hammers and slams all. The first 2 slam and hit, but the first 2 are so hard that they actually knock the guy back on the ground. And the third one he goes to take, he goes to swing down towards his head, but the guy just rolls out of the way and stands up. Moldrak and him now like kind of facing off. Alrighty. Top of combat. They're up. 3 guys up here are going to take 3 more shots. They're actually going to shoot Skip. He's the only one they see. This kind of big, bright beacon of light standing in the center of everything. There's just this huge. There's like bright light all right here. Yeah, just all right here. You're just this. You're like a big ass candle in the middle here.
Bring it, bitches.
All right, first shot. Natural 20.
Shit, I take it back. Stop.
27 total to hit. So I think
If I
even
shield
with your
it.
shield, it's
No, if I
still.
shield it, I got it, but I don't want to do it. Should shield.
Yeah.
Oh, then you know what? I will shield it, because that's
Okay. So your AC goes up by what, 5 from there, right? So it goes
yeah,
to
I have
27.
23 right now.
Okay. So it goes to that. Yeah. Well, shield of faith would have went away.
Oh, shit. Okay, what is it?
Yeah, so it doesn't.
Doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Shield of faith would have went away in that time that you cast it, walked up, and did all of that. So it is a crit. That's 24 points of piercing damage from the crossbow bolt. Another one finds its way and like sinks into the shoulder, and you actually feel it go through the shoulder and almost pin it, like your arm's there. You take your sword, like don't sheath it, but like while holding the hilt, grab the arrow and yank it out with this like ungodly like creaking noise. Another bolt flies in your direction. Not gonna hit with a 10. And the third one is a 22 to hit. All right.
That one I'm not fucking with.
So that one doesn't hit.
That one hurt.
The second one shoots, and you watch it as it slams into like the ground beneath you. And then you look over where those are both coming from as they're flying at the same kind of time. The third one, you kind of lines up, and that's as you see it, you just throw the shield up, and you hear it like hit the front of the shield. Throw the shield down, and then as you're throwing the shield down, watch this guy run up straight in front of you. And then another one to your side.
You said how much damage? 23?
14, 24 points piercing damage. They cannot see you. I'm glad I put that out there. I would have ran right at you. 5, 10, 15.
Smacking each other.
5, 10. Oh, shit.
He's dead, isn't he? She's getting hairy.
Alright, so I'm going to start it this way. I'm going to start with those attacks. I'm going to make 2 short sword attacks. It's a 24 and a 17 to hit Moldrack.
Compelled to do it.
Both hit? Yeah. Okay. 26 points total of slashing damage. As the guy takes the sword, slashes it across the midsection, takes another one and slides it down across his body.
How much did you take from the last time?
11 from the last time. So he
37?
would have been at 74, and then he just took. He just took 26, so he took a total of 37. Correct. All right, the guy on Apex. On you, Apex, 2 attacks coming at you. Oh, these are not good attacks. So 15 and a 13.
Both miss? Yeah.
Both miss? Alright.
And you take a D4 for bleeding.
Oh, yep, that's right.
3 necrotic.
Oh, sorry, I don't know why I just rolled it. 3?
Yep. Is that at the end of his turn?
Yeah.
Another 3?
Yeah, I'm not okay with that. That's about a D8.
Alright, so as he takes forward and like lifts his arm up to go swing at you, he just kind of like peels over as you hear this like ripping of flesh from the wound that you already torn into his midsection previously. He's just kind of like hunched over looking up at you. Looks like he's in dire straits. You can see blood actually pooling over his forearm from where the wounds are. And he's just kind of like looking up at you, takes like a step back also. It's like holding the blade, and you can see it shaking in his hand. You're just standing there in front of him, these huge claws. These 2 guys that are on Andrew, 2 attacks. The first 2.
Is Andrew within 5 feet?
Andrew is not within 5 feet.
Damn, Andrew, no. You're within 10 now.
Alright, so
Does that do anything?
a 10 and a 21.
10 and a 21? The 10 does not hit. 21 definitely does.
No, it doesn't.
So you take 8 points of slashing damage from the first one.
She's going to make savings throw.
Next 2 attacks. It's a 14 and a 24.
24 hits.
Take 9 points of slashing damage.
How are you looking, bud?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
I'm good.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, but this guy with the big sword, it's going to be Simon. What am I going to say?
Simon Loki
Full
is a
sense to be
fighter.
about right here.
Low-key has that sword.
Kind of by Connor before everybody would have got here, so he's right here. All right. Yeah. As they're making their way up, it's taking them a while just to get to you because they're like kicking through the mud. You see rain splashing all over the place, water's going everywhere, mud's kind of getting kicked up. Crossbow bolts are flying through the air. There's lightning coming down. There's people running from all over the place. You're like slashing and pushing people off of you, catching crossbow bolts in the shoulder, bouncing off your shields. Shit is just hectic. Skip, you are up.
I noticed the two guys that came up right up to Andrew. So fuck these two dudes in front of me. I'm doing without hesitation.
Okay.
Linking me to Andrew.
Okay, that's an action.
Yeah, I'm backing up.
Alright.
So that I'm within 5 feet of him.
About 5 feet of Andrew. You could probably be like right here and still be within range and give him the
Everything?
5 feet.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Alright.
And I just,
Alright. Okay, so as you look back and you see these people take their blades up towards Ander and start like swinging down, you watch one of them actually slice across his back shoulder and he falls down, the other one stabs down towards him and like pokes him in the shoulder again. You reach back, kind of just look, concentrate, and this small little white, yellowish link forms between the two of you. Connor, you are up.
Over here.
Yep. Blighted? Alright. Constitution save, right? That's the last one.
The thing you saved.
do I see a lot of 8s in there?
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ, I'm a fucking noob.
46, so 20. That's what's not
He just started dying out of nowhere.
23.
Necrotic damage.
Alright. So, as you watch this guy like trekking through the mud, he puts his hand on the log, he's holding the blade in the other. You kind of reach over, put your hands up, and this quick energy kind of flies out towards him and clings to him. All these stars on him, they actually start like going, they start on one side and start pulling through the other way, and then there's like this dark black void forming in the center of them. You can see that like this part of his arm is just kind of gone. Like it's there's no muscle or anything underneath. It's just like this huge cut in the part here. And he's like trying to like move his arm and it's like kind of slack. He's holding it, kind of reaches the blade up and is like looking around like trying to squeeze it, but it just kind of it goes limp on the side, so he just has the one hand and is like making his way forward.
From where I'm standing, can I see the guys up there or not?
Make a perception.
6.
10. I'd say with a 10, yeah, you can see this guy for sure.
Okay.
And you see crossbow bolts flying from this direction going towards Skip as well.
I'm gonna move 15 feet in like an arc around this guy. So like out like 15 feet, I guess. So like right here. There.
Alright, so as you do that, Andrew, you are up.
I couldn't even see where I was.
Yeah, you are in the
This
thick
guy's
of it right
backing
now.
me.
Oh
No.
You are in the thick of it. You are.
I got over by Apex looking long. Are you looking hurt?
Disadvantage for you.
This guy's fucked up.
Yeah,
The guy in front of me's fucked up. It's the one I had for like 3
Not
or 4.
to kill that guy.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
He's the one that attacked Connor and I fucked him off.
I saw one of the guys on me.
Which one?
Matters is him like
Nobody looks like a leader here.
the guy on the left.
Your left or my left?
Both are left. I'll hit them both. I guess I'll just go for that guy.
Jesus,
I
I
got
got your mind here.
Whatever. I'll take the guy can try his own.
Okay. First attack.
Get the ring over damage. This hits. The 28 hit?
Yes, it does.
Uh, 13.
13 damage.
Oh, there's a 21.
21 also hits. Hit the ground here.
That's another 13.
With that, the first one you throw around Skip's right side, and then the second one you throw around his left, and they both kind of like meet up towards the neck, slam, and then he just falls to the ground. You got one more attack.
Now I'll go for the guy on my left. My left. Right.
And Andrew's left is your left right now.
Anybody, my arm hurt. I'll touch myself. Sounds a little weird. I got the Ace of Hearts. That's the deal.
Okay.
That's a 1 HP.
Nice. So the cards you throw them, look to the guy behind you, take a card out, and just kind of feel the energy, push it to your chest, and it heals a little bit of the wound, like it dissipates into healing energy, and then walks back to the belt. Apex, you're up.
Still pissed at this guy.
All right.
You're attacking him.
Start making another attack.
So 18,
18 just hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
9 slashing.
9 slashes. The second claw that you take, you just kind of like grab up towards his back and then slam him into the ground. As you do that, it like digs deep, and you feel like mud actually as you push the claws like almost completely through him. As you take the claw upward, he's like slides off of it before like thudding onto the ground. Blood's still like pooling around him. Now it's forming with the mud. Kind of look around. See somebody over here by Moldrak, and then these people surrounding Ander.
I guess I've seen Moldrak fight, so I know he's pretty capable, so I'll help, try to help everyone else.
Alright, so you go over this way?
Yeah.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
I don't think you can reach him.
Nope. And then I regenerate with my bonus action.
Alright.
That's it.
Alrighty. Moldrak's up. And then the thugs and then Skip.
How low are you, Jack?
That's Ander. What's Moldrak doing?
Oh, Moldrak up?
Yes.
Sounds some attack. That's what he does. 22
Hits.
and natural 20.
I'll roll damage for those first two. Do it.
14, 20,
So,
34.
takes the first Warhammer and slams it into the chest, and then as the guy goes to fall backwards, he just brings Warhammer down on top of his head, cracks it, and slams. There's just this loud, like, and then the storm. You okay there, Phil? Come on, man. His head tucks in, and he falls back and falls into the mud. Moldrak still has, I think he's got 30 movement, so 15 feet.
He's going to start running towards the people on the hill.
That's right. Alright. After that, combat, they're up. Alright. Oh. Get right there. Still this big beacon of light in the center there. These two are going to take shots at you. First one. Second one. 22.
Yeah, I'm gonna show that.
All right. This guy at Moldrak.
Let's get a what? 26, right?
18 to hit.
Plus 5.
Yep.
Moldrak takes 10 points of piercing damage from the bolt.
Which is right after this.
As he starts kind of getting up through the mud, water splashing and mud kicking up, it's easy to see him barreling towards the guy. Just turns over, slips out a bolt, puts it down at his feet, grabs a bolt from the side, loads it in, and starts pulling it back. Alrighty. Guess we'll start with the guy outside. Both are gonna hit. Not a lot of damage. He's got a lot of health. Alright, so as Simon's standing there, the guy takes a blade, slams it into his back, and then like kicks him on the ground and goes to like take the second attack and slam it and like just plunge it into his chest. Actually finds purchase but doesn't plunge it deep enough, just gets into like his lower midsection. Simon's standing there. Oh, somebody help! Help! As he's sitting there laying on the ground, blade in his chest. Not his chest, but in his stomach. Pulls the blade out. Attack on Apex. 2 attacks. 15 and a 10.
Negative.
2 attacks on Ander.
Deflecting the blade
Oh,
with
if
the
5 feet
claws.
is me, I want one of those to be at disadvantage.
Okay, don't do the next one then. I'll just do this. I just rolled 2 natural points. I'm a fucking god. Alright. The next one, straight roll. That was unreal. Okay. 22. So natural 20 and a 22. The natural 20 damage. Then the natural 2.
More than one dice.
Or not natural. The 22, not natural 2. 22 points of slashing damage from the first attack.
Nope. 0.
0. Okay, Skip takes all 22. And then and then 14 from the second.
I'm not taking that. Wait.
So you take the 22 and he takes 14. The first blade that's standing there, as you like look up towards the guy, he stabs it into your shoulder, like down this way, and then pulls it out. As he pulls it out, you feel the pain, but then the wound starts closing itself up, and you look over at Skip, and the metal has dented and recessed into the armor. He kind of like, there's like a little bit of a shrug, and then the second blade that comes across, he slashes into your shoulder, and there's this deep gash now bleeding from there. The jacket's kind of cut a little bit. All right. Attacks. These 4 attacks come for Skip. Your AC is what, 27 right now? Or 26. Okay, the first 2 attacks from the black guy are both 17, so then the next 2, natural 1 and a 13. So you don't hit. As the blades start flying towards you, there's water going everywhere. The shield goes up. The blade hits and water kind of splashes off of it as well. They're kind of like moving around, water splashing up from the ground, thunder's breaking down in the distance. They're trying to slice and stab you as best as they can, but the only damage they got off you on this round was the one that went to Ander. You're blocking, you're kind of like taking your elbow up and shoving people back too. You look back towards Ander and then go to like throw the shield over, but then see someone try to attack in the front, so you slam it to the side. Everything around, like it's hard to take everything in. There's just so much happening all at once. So after them, Skip, you are up.
Skip's a little here.
Yep.
He's him on the ground. And he's just having a hard time.
Yep.
swing at this guy.
Okay.
Go ahead. Plus 4. Okay, we'll make it fun. Divine smite. So. Nope, 6, 7, 13, 21, and 27 damage to him. And then can I hold the second attack?
No.
Okay.
It's part of the action. That's how much damage?
27.
7 damage?
Good, and then I'll hit him again, right? Yep. That is a 21.
That hits.
Uh, 13.
Yeah.
8,
Yep.
8, 6.
Well, you got
14,
14 or 5. 14. It should be 5 because the blade's a +1, not a +2. I think your modifier. Because you have what's your strength?
I'm proficient with it.
I know, but you don't have that. You don't have that type of damage. 2. So this should actually be a +3 for your damage. So 12. Okay. Yeah. 1 attack, 2 attack. Anything for your bonus action?
I can't lay on hands for the bonus action, can I? No. Okay, so this one's everything. So I'm just going to get close to anger and hope for the best here. I can't do shit.
So he's standing there, all these people starting to surround you. You take the first slice out towards him and it makes contact. There's this bright yellow energy that follows behind it. Take the second attack and stab out towards him and then draw the blade back. Kind of bleeding, there's blood dripping off the blade. Water is still pouring down very heavily, not letting up at all. Thunder's crackling in the distance. And they're still just kind of making their way up towards you. And they do not appear like there is any type of trying to take anyone prisoner. They're like slicing or trying to attack you and cut you down. Alrighty. Connor is next, and then Andrew after that.
Maybe closer to these guys.
You got a little closer? Okay. 15.
Now I can see them probably more clearly.
Yes, you see all 3 of them. You can see them currently in the process of like putting a bolt into the like channel and then locking it backwards. Alright. I'm just going to go from the left to the right. First one. Yeah. $17 for the first one. And
Take mine pieces. It's 18 now because of mine. Yeah.
the second one's also 17. And the third one, not any higher than that. So 3 failed. Holy shit.
Not very good.
Damage.
There's a lot of ones in here. And then bonus action, I'm going to recover 4 points.
Alright. How long is the greater last?
1 minute.
Okay, yeah, you got it.
I got
Plenty of
7 more rounds.
Alrighty. So, standing there, you just kind of take from the necklace very quickly, wrap this energy up, and throw it up into the air. As it gets up higher and higher, it starts giving off this bright orangish yellow light that slams down on top of this hill that's here. And for a second, they're kind of like, they just disappear. You can't see them. There's just flame licking over everything. A little bit of the wood catches fire. It slams down, and you watch like some of the shoulders charred over. The crossbow one of them was holding is just gone. It just burnt into nothing. He takes a sword from his side and just kind of starts looking around from where it came from. Looks towards the sky and then looks over towards Moldrak, and
All this would probably be on fire.
yeah, this is definitely like just burning up on the side here. So this is a little brighter. It's a little brighter.
The rain suppressing it all?
What's
The
that?
rain suppressing it at all?
Not. It's like roaring fire because it's so intense. But you can definitely, probably over time it would. But right now, currently, it's just burning. Just wanted to make sure I had everybody. Okay. All right. After counter anger, you're up. There's a guy right on top of you.
What part's in it?
All right.
No. It's useless. What? 19?
19 hits.
13 damage.
13?
$26.
26 hits.
8 damage. Ooh. 15 to hit.
15 does not hit. He's just scared. So as you duck down, you take here for your side, grab the cards. You're kind of like ducked in the mud currently, taking some, throwing them upwards. The first two you look, and then the third one you have to like kind of like duck down more. The rain starts getting in your face as you're looking up. You go to throw it, and it just kind of disappears and fades into the distance. Apex, you're up, and I'm all back.
He slams down. I catch the blade in between two of my claws. As he gets distracted, I stab into his sternum.
All right.
Natural 20. 16 damage.
I think this is the guy who went towards previously. I think he's got 15 health. I'm trying to map this out.
This is the guy that I used.
Whatever. Okay, yeah.
Stab him, lift him up, and just like stab it, throw it down and stab again at the bottom and just pull him apart.
So the first attack that comes with the blade, you kind of catch it, stab him like completely through his body with the large claws, and then you're like lifting him up a little bit. You take underneath that, and then like tear. It doesn't like completely like rip him in half. It just kind of goes to the sides, almost on this like strange slant, where there's like bits of flesh that are tore up. Like he just like went through like some sort of a like cheese or meat slicer. Like there's just like flesh that's hanging around, blood dripping heavily from his sides. You can see him trying to like, he's still like alive for a second as it happens. He's just like, and then splats to the ground. Blood just starts like pulling over the sides everywhere. It's like covering up the mud. You can see it dripping down the claws.
Boy, he was fucked up. The next guy.
Yes, it does for sure.
He's just sitting there like,
And there is Skip.
Skip there. I think it's close.
Nice choice.
I can just keep taking all the
That's
damage.
a 13.
I want to kill that guy. Huh?
13. Yeah.
Like that.
And bonus action, I'll do another attack.
Alright.
That's a
I
10.
couldn't do anything.
So looking down at your hands, like, what the fuck did I just do? You kind of like jump out towards that guy, and then a little hesitant, go to like scratch that guy's like, just like almost fetal position, gets on the ground, and then you hesitate as one of the claws like almost goes towards Skip. Skip, your eyes kind of widen for a second, and then he just like, oh, and he goes, all right, Moldrak's up.
whole time I'm sitting with a little bottle of holy water on his pipe now.
He's gonna. Can you see the guys in the hill?
Yes, he can. Now that the fire's kind of roaring up.
He's gonna. What's he use to cast spells? Does he use his hammers?
To put like enhancements on them?
Can you like cast spells through his hammers or anything? Or
Not really. He usually like puts them on his sides and then.
alright, well, just do one of his regular gestures and try and control the storm that's raging and call down.
Call lightning?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so I think you dropped it now if you all three.
Yeah.
Pretty clumped together. Does it Dex save, right?
Probably.
One. Oh, that is advantage because it's storm. 16. Biggest DC is. Not sure.
So based off his wisdom,
Yes. Might even be less. Should be 8 plus proficiency.
16.
16. Okay. So, shit, what did I just roll? 16? Yeah, so that makes it. Second guy is going to be a 12. Third guy is going to be a 18. So, the two on the N60, the guy that drops right on top of fails.
yeah, not dry.
Can't not that.
Yeah, it's 13 lightning damage.
13 lightning damage. That's 7 to the other guy. Alright. Rick puts the hammers on the side, puts his hand forward, carves like a tribal glyph in the air, and then pulls his hand down, and then there's this loud, even louder crackle of thunder, and this bright blue light that shines down as it slams down into this hill. The one guy in the center just kind of like quickly like convulses and tenses up, and then it arcs off the ground up towards the other guys. Bits of rock kind of slam up towards them too, and lightning arcs through them. Their hand like kind of like goes out to the side.
Isn't there like some sort of benefit if there's an actual storm going on?
Yeah, you can do more damage.
Yeah.
Like an extra D10 or something?
Possibly.
Call lightning. 1d10. Extra 1d10.
Tack on another 7.
Tack on another 7.
There's concentration.
All right. Top of combat, they're up. This guy that had his crossbow melted. So when we get there, you see Wolfrack walking up. Can't see past all this fire. This guy just jumped in the fire, by the way. Never mind. Shit.
It's a little wet outside.
He's just gonna go off the back end of it that way. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit! I'm thinking to myself, like imagining this roaring fire, and that guy just. Okay.
Wow, guys.
Little human. Turn around.
We'll shoot less.
Thank you. All right. These two crossbow bolts and Moldrak. Natural 1 and a 20. No. 14 points of piercing damage. Moldrak. We've got 6 attacks. Nope, never mind. 4 attacks, so we can skip. So the first guy, natural 20.
Shield.
26.
Shield
27.
27. Yeah, it's still gonna hit, but I'm still gonna shield. Just because I got a lot of attacks on.
You could also wait, because they could possibly just not hit you at all. It's been a while since you've been here. So the crit, the first attack, the second one does not hit, however. This guy has 2 attacks. Almost a natural 20. 46.
Nope, still with
Yeah, that'll hit you. Alright, so 2 attacks hit. Do the crit first. 20 points of piercing damage. And then from the normal one, you take 13, so a total of 33.
Yeah.
And the 2 attacks on Apex.
Bring it on, bitch.
Alright, lowest one's a 22.
Yep, you got me.
Okay, so 12 for the first one. Oh shit. And then 12 for the second one. So you take 24 points of slashing damage. 2 attacks on Andrew.
Just a scratch.
Natural 20 and a 25. The natural 20?
Reaction on the 25.
It's too late.
On the natural 24.
Maybe disadvantage. I already rolled. Damn it. I said I'm gonna attack him.
Yeah.
So trying to do that. 16 for the crit. And then the second one is 10. So 26 points of slashing damage. Alright. Crossbow bolts start flying through the air. You watch as blades are slicing through the water in the air, slicing down on you. There's this mixture of blood as the blade slams into your body and pulls out. There's blades flying everywhere. These guys are they're not extremely well-trained assassins, but they're just brutal. Like they are fighting for something they believe in, they feel like, and they just have this look in their eyes like they're not going to back down. They're stabbing and slicing out towards you, slicing across. Some of them are trying to like kick you down and stab into you. This guy's going to make a step over. He's going to stab him as he steps over, though. 3s. Still hits. No, it doesn't, because he has the bonus for this guy. So this is my 2. 2 attacks on Skip again. Or no, 1 attack, sorry. Not 2. No, not gonna hit. Alright, so as he reaches over, he just kind of slices down towards the guy and steps on his stomach. Simon just kind of goes to stab towards you, just take the shield and block it. Skip, it is now your turn, and there is a swarm of people on top of you.
Alright, I can't do anything. Yeah, I know.
You can heal yourself.
I'm gonna heal myself for 45. Like it's
Okay.
I'd rather not that.
Gotcha. That's all I can do. Alrighty. Counter your up.
Okay.
I'm going to. Okay. Go ahead and cast. Well, I'm gonna move up 15 feet.
Fire's like right here.
Okay. Fireball level scorching, right?
Okay.
And I don't hit this guy before, so I'm gonna attack him. So one ray going his way.
Yep.
18.
That's
Right. 6. 7 damage.
okay.
Another one his way. 20.
Hits.
5 damage.
Okay.
Another one out. 17.
17 does not hit.
Alright. And last one. 26.
Hits.
4 damage.
Not looking good over there. The guy, his arm already kind of dangling from not being there, where the void is kind of carved into the actual arm itself. Holding a blade with one hand as he's going forward, kind of stabbing out. These rays just start slamming into him. The direction where they're coming from is seen, but there's no source. There's just like these random rays that start flying outward, slam into him. His side gets burnt and heavily charred. You can see him like squeezing and gripping onto the blade as rain pouring down as well. Andrew, you are up. Jared, you're up. Come on. Go ahead.
Who's damage? 15.
15 does not. Well, 20 minutes.
Depends on. What am I doing?
That does not.
12 damage.
So the first one missing as the rain's coming down very, very heavily. You just take the second two, hold them at the same time, pull your arms back and throw them up towards his chest. Slams back, you see blood kind of dripping down now as the rain's pouring it down as well very heavily. Apex, you are up.
As I wriggle back from the attack, backhand the claw across his chest as a rebound. 15. Next attack, try and slide it across his legs. 10. And then, just very angrily, you just kind of stab him again in the stomach. 17.
Trying to break across and slide like with the backhand, he just kind of ducks underneath it, and then you try to slam down and go towards his legs with another claw across. He's just like jumping and going, actually bumps into Skip, and as he bumps into Skip, you like look forward to try and attack him, but Skip just like knocks him off. You go to slice again, but he just like falls and slams into the mud. Got mud all over him. He just kind of pushes himself back up, starts looking around.
Call lightning bolt down.
Here?
Yeah.
You can hit these two, but not all three. If you want to do that. These two?
Yeah. I should probably hold on. I gotta make concentration from last.
You just need to. Did you get 14? Constitution's pretty high too.
That's a 7.
7.
Yeah.
That's not making it, so I'll let you.
Alright. What's the wolf speed?
40.
How far away is that bottom guy?
Actually, I think it's 50.
It's not hindered.
Yeah, it's not going to rush you.
Alright, so I'm gonna go in the wolf form. Run at that guy that's coming down the.
That's good?
Yeah. It's a different hit point total, right?
Yes. It's, I think it's a wisdom modifier, kind of tap and level or something. Or other. What was it, I'm trying to find a weird spot. Spirit Wolf is HP is shaman level times 3. So
27.
27. And it has his base speed plus 20 feet, so it's 50 feet.
Okay, so how many attacks does he get and stuff like that?
He has a number of claw attacks equal to his normal allowed attacks. Making bite attacks an entire action. Claw attack is a D4 plus his strength.
Alright, same hit bonus or?
Strength plus proficiency in it, yes.
Strength. So is that plus 9?
He's got a 5.
Plus whatever his strength is.
Alright, so 16.
16 to hit.
Mhm.
Does not hit.
The actual one. And 25.
That hits.
5 damage.
Alright. The wolf charges forward. Moldrak kind of disappears into this wolf. They touch form. Starts clawing up towards the guy. The guy backs up against the hill, and then the third one finally finds contact on his stomach and rakes down. Top combat. They're up. Okay, I'm going to do 2 attacks on Ander. 19 and a 26.
What's it?
First one. Oh, shit. 15. The first one.
15 damage.
Take 10. Okay, so you take 5. And the second one is 6 points of piercing damage. It's the lowest I can roll.
What do you bet? Like, I actually can't do anything.
It's a 7.
Okay, they're still going.
I would take more, but I'm about to get bugged up.
This guy's actually going to attack it.
I would like to use my reaction. That's disadvantage.
Got it. So the first one is at disadvantage. Roll 2 natural 18s.
Why do I use this?
You take 8 points of piercing damage. Or slashing damage.
You have to take some of it.
Andrew takes 8. He has 7 HP left.
You have 7 HP. You beat all.
Okay, he takes the full life. Second attack on you, Andrew. Natural 19. Holy. You take 16 points of slashing.
Takes 6 of it.
I can't.
Make him only. No, you take 10. Make him take 6 and you'll be at 1.
What do you feel?
I'm at 51.
You haven't taken any attacks.
I'm about to take like 6.
What would Skip do?
Skip would take it.
Alright.
He wouldn't take all of it. He would take 10 and leave you at 1.
Good with me.
He's me at 41.
Alright. 2 attacks on Apex. That's a 14. Oh, wait. 15 and a 21.
Yeah, 1.
You take 13 points of slashing damage. Skip, you watch the 2 people. You're surrounded at this point. You see one of them attacking Apex. Apex seems like he's handling himself okay. Simon is laying on the ground over to the side. You just watch these 2 guys tear into Andrew. One of them actually kicks his shoulder, slams him in the ground, and then they both start stabbing down at him. One stabs the shoulder, the other one slices across his stomach. The other one actually picks him up by the back of the jacket and then slams into the shoulder again and goes to throw him on the ground. Andrew's barely standing up to get up. Blood is dripping from his shoulders. You can hear him shout out as he's getting stabbed and sliced into. Blood is pooling from his mouth, and he's coughing up blood every now and then. Goes to reach down towards the cars and is still looking up at them. The attacks that are coming in your direction now, you've got 4 of them. The first 2 is 24
Yeah, very nice to have.
23.
I can't shoot.
Both hit.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I can tap me and lose him.
24 points of slashing damage from those first 2 attacks. The second 2 attacks. It's a 17 and a 10.
Heat
So
seekers on their point.
24, right? You got the total? 24.
That's it?
The second series of
Don't ever
attacks.
say that's it.
These 2,
Okay.
they're not shooting yet.
Fire.
They cannot see, correct. So they're going to shoot Moldrak. Reach over here and shoot Moldrak. The 2 attacks. The wolf's AC is his wisdom score.
18, I think? He's senior.
I've got 24 and a 13.
You got one.
With that one, I do 9 points of piercing damage. And then that guy's gonna make 2 attacks. The guy right in front of him. 17 and a 23.
You got one.
11 points of select. Alright. 2 bolts fly down towards the wolf. They pierce into like the side. And then the other one starts like slicing down at it as it's like as Moldrak's form is like pushing up and the wolf trying to like claw into the midsection. After that, Skip is up.
Oh, whoa.
Kill Andrew. Kill Andrew? Die? Myself who died. Kill Andrew.
Third double that kill thing. No, it's waste. Double 3 hits. It was D10, was it?
And then it should be an additional one for every level beyond the first.
Why don't I get the fucking TP out one? TP card one
A
time.
max of 5. So you can do it to 3. So it should be 3d10 plus your spellcasting, which is the first one.
7, 13, 16, 18 off.
As you're standing there, you looking towards Skip, you watch a blade coming straight for him. As he like puts the shield up, he blocks it, and then 3 more attacks are coming at him. He doesn't try to block him, he just holds him up and then reaches his hand back, puts it on your chest and heals some of the wounds, and then as he's doing that, you watch him like get hit by a bunch of blades that go across him, pulls the shield to his side and is like looking out, looking hurt.
Next round attacks. No.
Connor, you're
I
up.
am awesome. No, I think we've got all
You
here.
got this. Oh, fuck. I have control attackers. Look, bracelet.
And then it starts right back to you.
It's a little patch.
It's just like a patch in the clouds where it's just sunlight.
Yeah, it clears. You guys see how absolutely fucked you are, and then it picks back up. There's only
How are
one
these
fight.
guys looking?
Okay. Make a quick perception check.
There's only one way here. You gotta watch up into the middle of them.
22. Okay,
Yeah,
as
stay
you're sitting
quick.
there, being able to kind of take everything in, these guys over here, you know these guys are hurt.
Yeah,
You guys, you know that they are tore up. There's only 2 people over here that look like they're okay, and it is these 2. These 3 over here look pretty damn hurt. Like they're just like in survival mode, and that's why they're tearing into Andrew the way they are. The one that's like staying right here, he's like shoving Skip, like trying to stab him and keep him off of him. As Skip like looks over to him, you can see him kind of back up and like take the sword and try to push away and keep Skip off. No, keep you off of him. Like every time you go towards him with the shield, he doesn't even attack. He just like shoves.
Me, being surviving on a fireball. But the fighter doesn't want to kill it. So he's gonna do it for scorching ray.
All right. Who are you going at first?
I'm gonna go after the guy who looks the worst on the fireball.
This guy right.
The guy that I probably choked his arm off.
Yes.
Alright.
He's pretty hurt.
If they want hell of a morph,
That is a 29.
Hits.
Glorious. 7.
The first guy, you take your hand up and point it, and this huge Andrew, you watch as the guy has just taken his blade, pulled it out of your shoulder, Skip reached back and puts a hand on it. This guy takes the blade, spins it around, and goes to slam it through you. So you watch this just hole of like orange energy fly through his throat, and you see this just cauterized hole where his neck used to be. His hand kind of slack on the side. He floods and falls to the side. Next one.
Next guy. The guy that's pushing Skip away.
Okay.
The fact that I'm on 19 HP and still
27.
killing all these people?
27. Hits.
Could be me 4.
4. Okay. You're still standing for sure.
3 more more scorching rays.
Okay.
I'm gonna look then.
I'm sure if you
No, it's plus. It's plus your spellcasting.
Wow.
Which is charisma.
I roll a 1. It's like, you know what? We're gonna give you a 2. That
That one misses.
Alright, so 2 more. 24.
Yep. Go ahead and roll damage.
6.
Okay.
Last one.
Oh wait.
Okay.
That's good.
Alright.
So the guy in front of you that is sitting there, you just like as he's slamming, goes to like actually stab. You just take the shield and smack him to the side. He actually gets like thrown off balance and goes to stand up. Like looks over, and then this sourceless beam of red energy flies towards him and slams him in the chest, splashing on the ground. Mud picks up and kicks out of nowhere. There's like fire raging over here. There's dead bodies all right here. One more ray.
The one by the Andrew.
All right. You're gonna have to do it. You have to roll.
Natural 20.
Holy shit, you might do it.
8 plus 6, 14.
13. All right. The one on Ander goes to slice down at him, and you take your hands and concentrate them together, almost like Kamehameha mode. Slam it, and this just bigger scorching ray slams and hits into like his side, and just goes clean through the other side, putting this cauterized hole there. There's like little bits of blood that are dripping, and he's still standing for a second, like looking, and then like.
janitor out here, clean the shit up.
I always out here.
Ander, you are up. You feel a little more revitalized, but still hurt. You're sliced up. There's a deep wound in your shoulder that's just pouring blood from it. Rain's pouring down in front of your face. You just watch 3 people around you get just cauterized wounds that tore through them. They just fall to the ground. Simon's like on the ground, like pulling himself over to this log.
There's 2 guys here. It's like go for the one in between Apex and Skip. Got it.
Go ahead.
Red tank guy. Let's do that. On your hit, if you hit, roll an additional damage check. Natural 1.
Oh, yeah, that sucks, but
20. It's 12 damage.
alright. First card slams up into his shoulder as it wraps around.
19?
19 hits.
Okay, he's got to make a wisdom save.
Not gonna make it.
He's charmed.
Oh shit.
Take damage. 12.
Damage?
Is the charm just like useless?
Just not gonna attack you.
Well, I mean, if you hit him again,
You attack him,
yeah, you hit him. Yeah. It doesn't damage charms him, and now if you hit him again.
We're gonna switch to the other guy.
Alright.
Now I get the one that on hit teleports me. I don't want it.
You can still get out of range.
I'm throwing it at him.
This guy?
Actually,
You can throw it at the log, get out of range.
get a long idea.
Go over here.
Yeah.
Other side of it? Okay. The first one you throw, it hits into the shoulder as it wraps around. The second one you throw, it goes up towards his head and explodes in this arcane energy. The damage that hits him is like this force damage, and then he's just kind of sitting there looking around, still attacking the people in front of him, but not paying attention to you. The third card you kind of take, throw up, get ready to throw, look at it, and then tuck it over towards the log. It slams to the other side. You like land in a 3-point stance, kind of hunkered up against the log here. Apex and then Moldrick.
frustrated. Like, wasn't hitting this guy, so he's just going all out on him.
Yep.
11, 14, and a 10.
All three misses. As you start slicing, trying to go into this fury of attacks, the individual is just sitting there, like, just falls to the mud, and then as you go to, like, cloud, like, you know, coming over him and, like, stand and slice into him, he just, like, slides into the mud, like, beneath you and gets to the other side, and then there's, like, this little bit of a roundabout where you're looking at one another, and he ends up right back where he was in the same spot, just trying as best you can, but unable to hit him. Rain pouring down very heavily, having trouble seeing very well. After that, especially with Skip, with the light right behind the guy, it's just hard. Moldrak is up.
You know, mix him with plates or whatever he does in that form.
Okay.
Natural 20.
Nice.
And D4.
Yep, D4 plus 5.
Or 9. Piercing probably. Maybe.
Yeah, kills the first guy. Reaches up and just takes the claw and slices it down.
And he's gonna use the momentum from leaping at that guy to jump off him and up top and attack the next guy up there.
Alright, this guy.
The middle, your left.
This one?
Your left. 20.
Hits.
6.
Alright.
18.
18 just hits.
Another 6.
Claws and like runs up the guy and then jumps to the other one and slices down his face heavily into like his throat where blood starts like spurting out from it. He swings and slams on top of him and just looks right back up at the other guy who's also hurt currently. What's up? Oh, like round 6.
Apex will get back in.
Apex is not within back here. This guy's going to take 2 sword attacks at him. Over here. That is a 13 at most, so that misses. 2 attacks on Skip. No. 16 at most, and then 2 attacks on Apex. 11 at most. Seeing their situation now as this sourceless beam of bright red flare energy is slicing into their allies, they start getting flustered. They're just kind of pushing you off. Even though you're missing, there's just this intimidating factor of these huge claws slicing through and everything. And they saw what you did to the other guy, ripping him in half. The guy is just, he's not even attacking you. He's just like looking back and forth between you and Skip. The one that actually is in front of you, Skip goes to slice down. You throw the shield up and then just elbow him really hard in the lip, and he kind of rears back a little bit. The one on the wolf can't really hit. Skip, you are up after that.
The one that just decided to try to attack you after elbowing him, caught up with the sword.
Go ahead. Roll your attack.
That's not going to hit. Second attack. 17.
17 just misses.
I can't grapple that guy.
Did you have the number? Yeah, you did. +2 and then +4. No, that's your turn.
Okay.
Unless you have bonus action. No, you do right.
Bonus action, give him the middle finger.
Nice. Okay, so the first attack you go to stab, he's pretty much just backed up too far for you to do anything, so it's like stab and then slice, but he's just out of range to actually be hit. Connor and then Andrew. Blake, which one last? One in front of Apex and this guy. Okay.
Can't do someone for him.
No, it's not good. That's a 12.
What's this? This is existence gone.
This guy hasn't been hit yet, so.
Okay.
33 damage. Alright, as you throw the starry energy out towards him, it hits some different parts of the body. So there's like these dark black holes that are like on his leg, on his arm, in his chest. one of them like up towards his face, where you'd imagine to see bone, but instead there's nothing but like this black void. He's like, like trying to like wipe it off, but as he wipes it, it just like goes. His thumb like falls into one of the sockets, and he's like just looking around. The energy goes in his hand, and then his thumb disappears. He's like sitting there holding the blade now, like staring out, looking at wherever it's coming from. Then just looks towards the first thing in front of him and sees it's there. Andrew, you want to move it all?
Yeah, go ahead. Just move a little bit to the side.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, I can't see that, guys.
Yeah, you cannot see this guy. You can see these two.
Can we just go for the guy? No. Can we go for the guy who's not trying to go?
The one that just got blinded. How many more gambling points do you have?
3.
What's that?
It's
Uh, 11 down?
good. Just get a math really quick. Second one's quick math.
Like visible.
Alright. So,
Stay invisible.
that's your second attack, right?
I'm just gonna chill.
Alright. So the first card you throw, the second one you reach up and hit, and bursts in this energy that makes you completely invisible. You are kind of looking now at the situation and seeing that it has calmed down a lot. You just put your hands, take a breath, blood pooling from your shoulders still as you're like leaning over with your hands on your knees. Blood's like dripping into the ground, water still pouring heavily down your jacket and your hat. When you reach your head over, all this water just kind of pours out in front of you. Apex.
Try again.
All right.
Just pissing. All you hear is like angry tennis grunts. 14. Natural 20.
Do it to him! Give him business!
19 damage.
19 damage.
He's bleeding, but you got one more attack on him.
Did you make
It's a miss.
a save for him? Or the
Master you said?
Yeah.
All right. So this time, how do you want to like stab outwards or like slice? What are you going to make it bleed?
So try to put a quick jab into his stomach and pull it out and then ooze it out.
So just sitting there, you go to like slice the first one, and he kind of just ducks back. Skip throws him forward again, and then you just like slam the claws right into the stomach, pull him out, and as you pull him out, blood pulls out with it, almost like you're pulling a clot. It's got, and then starts like slowly oozing from the stomach. You can see the blood is pouring outward. The blood that's on like the claws, the black kind of goo that's there, just stays exactly where it's at, so it's almost just like a blade, and the blood's just slowly dripping off of it. You want to take the third attack, and as you do, he just kind of like rears back and it slams into the mud. Mud splashes up and water gets everywhere. Moldrek is up.
He's gonna drop wolf form, rear up at him and attack.
All right.
Oh, get on the fire. Throw him in the fire.
16. Natural 1.
16 misses.
And 18.
18 just hits.
13 damage.
13 health.
And he slams him, he launches back into the fire.
Takes the first swing and ducks underneath it. He takes the second one, he like taps him on the back, but not hard enough. As he like hits, the guy just kind of crunches down a little bit, takes both warhammers, and then boom, slams one and hits the shoulder, the other one in the lower jaw. The guy's like unconscious as he goes flying and then hits the fire. The fire is now kind of simmered down, but it's still burning. It slams down and there's flames kind of licking over the armor up on top. The hair is starting to just disappear. He's slowly burning.
He kind of stands there for a moment and tries to have like a thought about like with the fire and stuff as what he went through before. As the guy burns in there. One.
Okay, does not do it. Very close. So a 24 and a 14,
That's one.
11 points of slashing damage.
Ouch.
And end of his turn, go ahead and roll one more d4 there.
3.
3.
His last breath to hurt me.
Takes a slice out towards you, and then as he does that, he kind of like falls to a knee. There's blood pooling from his midsection. He's just kind of like trying to breathe. There's like holes where the cards hit him, and then he just kind of
Push his head down.
take the claws and then this guy's gonna take 2 attacks at Skip. One of them gonna hit with a 25. And he does 11 points of slashing damage. Alright. That's their turn. Skip, you're up.
You skip a little angry, so he's gonna hit him once normally.
He's low.
That's
You might be able to do it with this.
I'm gonna add the thunder shield.
Alright, sure, why not?
No. Then make 6 strength save.
It's just a no for me.
Well,
It's a no for me, not
5, 10, 15, and shove 10 feet.
As he sits there and takes the first slice, it actually makes contact in your shoulder and like digs itself in, and the blade's stuck in your shoulder. He's sitting there like holding it, trying to pry it out. You just look at it, look at him, shove the shield into his chest, run forward, push him, get closer to the fire, slam to the point where the blade actually pulls itself off. His arm kind of goes loose. You look at him and then just slam right into his chest, and then he flies back into the fire, slams down into it. The fire actually kind of like picks up a little bit from the push down, and then the flames lick up a little more. You're kind of all around like breathing heavily, looking around at everything around you. You're just like blood dripping from the claws. You have dents and claws and marks all over you. Not claws, but scrapes. Connor, you're doing all right. You're just a little invisible, but it hurts. You are all tired. Simon is currently on the ground holding his stomach.
Skip runs over.
Rain's pouring down. He's sitting there
Kind
holding
of
his
like a
stomach.
baseball slide.
Holding his stomach.
Aphelia's hand, second level.
I'm gonna immediately try and gain access to this feller's mind here.
All right.
Scary motherfucker.
I will say, Connor, make a perception check along with Andrew. Andrew, yours is at disadvantage.
16.
18. Hold it. 18. Shit. 18. That was 2. 20. 19.
As he extends it forward and it looks like he's going to just stab him in the skull for no reason. And then as they get closer, they form away from the blades and the normal stuff.
Alright, so as you slammed into his stomach and pulled back, and then he went to a knee and fell down, you just kind of kneel in front of him, pick his jaw up with the claws, and then the claws start getting smaller. It's almost like your normal hands. And then from that, you watch as these like fleshy like tendrils kind of form and start going up and like wrapping around the actual head. He's like holding it up. The bottom part of the body's like limp, and he's just picking up that part, holding it upward. As you're looking and you hold the head up in this way, you've never really done this before to any like human that you remember in any way or anything like this. But as you start to do it, it's almost like this symbiote or whatever it is that's like this form that's with you is like telling you to do this. It's like pushing you in order to go forward, and it almost takes over for a second, where your arm goes out, grabs, and holds, and then your mind almost goes, okay, you hold it there for a second, and immediately these rushes of images start going over your mind. The rain pouring down almost gets a little silent and like dull and gets a little quieter. So all you can kind of hear is like voices of people laughing, and the voices go to the sound of like coin dropping on the ground, and it's like this flushing of images that keep coming one after the other, one after the other. You squeeze a little harder, and the tendrils kind of rear inward and like prod and probe deeper into the mind, and you almost like watch the head kind of like open up and squish. As you're holding the head upward, you see an individual with this kind of leather vest that's the sleeves are cut off. He's holding like a hatchet in his hand, just kind of standing over to the side. The rain at this point has ceased. You don't hear it anymore. His hair is slicked back. He's got a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow of like a full beard, just kind of standing there. Well, I guess if any of you bring me ahead of any of the keepers, I'll give you however many coin you want. What do you say? Kind of points over and is like pointing towards like where you're seeing from. 1,000 gold. You got it. 1,000 gold. Bring me any of their heads. 1,000 gold for each head. Each head 1,000 gold. Everybody heard me? Yeah. Everybody starts kind of clapping. All right. What do we say? What do we say, boys? The league profits. I profit. And then the head falls from your grip. Slams onto the ground.
We didn't just almost die. Fuck you.
You look over, the rain starts to get louder.
Okay. Hey, you can have mine. You just gotta make a new one for me. Come back to Ireland.
The rain, the thunder coming down. Looking over at Simon right now, he's like kind of holding his stomach, shaking. Yeah. And then you put your hand over. His hand is also still there. You kind of like push it underneath. This warm energy you feel radiate outward. He kind of takes a breath, still kind of shivering from the rain. Thank you.
I was going to see you sooner, but I was still a little preoccupied.
It's okay. I'm still breathing. He kind of looks at the wound. There's like a little bit of a scar. He's like completely healed though, kind of still shaking from the rain. Looking around.
Well, we should probably get moving.
Oh. Can you get up and move? I can walk, yes.
I hope you do.
Yeah, you help him up. He kind of, okay. It was a little rough. My stomach feels tight, but I think I can walk.
I leaned down, saw him like at length with him,
Right.
and I put his arm over my shoulder and I helped him more. But we should probably get moving. Especially if the league is looking for us like this, I can expect.
Make my way over to them. Yes, sounds a bitches put up a fight. Oh, yes.
There's plenty more thank you.
Yes, it looked like there was a lot of them. In my head.
They're part of an organization that the League of Coin.
Everyone by a guy with leather vest? Nice 5 o'clock shadow? By chance?
When you speak of named Cleveland, right? Yeah, Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. I
How
know.
do you, how,
Oh, I just met him.
he was here.
Yeah, he was in here. He was in that guy's head, and he was in my head.
I lean over down, are you all right?
He was in that guy's head, now he's in my head.
Yeah.
Okay, you want 1,000 gold for each of your heads.
1,000 gold.
1,000 gold. That's the offer he had. And these guys look like they want a paycheck.
You learned this how?
Well, when he was here.
Getting to his head.
Okay. Sure did. First time. Oh yeah, we use it to like squirrels and such. But they don't got a lot of memories, to be honest.
It's what you and the king meant for life and death.
Yeah, sure.
Let's start.
I just know you have to get the key. I don't want
It sounds like a good place to go to.
it. Yeah. Please.
The storm persists. It's dark, it's hard to see, but you are still on the road nonetheless. You travel for a good 2.5 to 3 hours before you start to grow tired and fatigued. And get over to one tree that's just kind of sitting over on the side that you're able to kind of all huddle up around against. Some of you that are tired and hurt very, very badly just go up against the tree and just plump your back up against it. As you do, you almost immediately kind of get tired and begin to fall asleep. It's still raining on you. Andrew, you're able to like kind of put the hat on, cover up with a jacket. Skip, you are not too fazed by it. It's more the sound that just gets a little tedious, but it's not as intense as it was. The rest of you fall asleep. Every now and then you kind of like wake up from the crackling of thunder in the distance. Eventually it fades. You all wake to the best weather you've seen since you've been here, besides the damp ground. The sun is shining. It is probably about 67 to 70 degrees. There's a light breeze coming through. You feel as though you may have stepped into another world the way that it looks. It's not gloomy, it's not dark. The sun is very, very bright. You can hear birds kind of chirping in the distance. You hear birds chirping in the distance. You can see occasionally like a rabbit that jumps very quickly across. You know that it is coming into this season right now where it's getting a little warmer. And Moldrak kind of stands up. All right, we're only a day at most. We travel for all of today. We'll be there by the morning tomorrow.
I have some good news.
We'll be there soon.
This place is weird. There's like no trees.
You get used to it.
Oh, grasslands.
Yeah, I was saying, I like it.
You can always tell where threats coming from.
We just got an ambush.
It was night and it was raining and it was a broken car. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, you're right.
Alright. So keep
Hey,
empty. On our way, Skip's gonna make food and water for everybody.
Okay.
try to like clean off this cape or whatever and get it back.
It's damp. Very, very wet. Nothing on. You feel it kind of like stick to your back. As you walk though, the light breeze every now and then starts to kind of slowly dry it. Yeah. Alright. You travel for probably at this point another 9 hours before you get ready to rest again. Moldrak kind of insists everyone. We walk more an hour more, maybe 2. It'll be easier in the morning to travel.
It's fine by me.
Is everyone alright?
Is it dark now?
It's just getting to the point where it's probably going to be dark within an hour and a half.
You can walk till it gets dark.
Okay. With that, you're able to know just by seeing the sky. The sun is about to go down within 10 minutes, so you guys set up camp and relax. As you set up camp and relax, you sit by the fire, wake up the next morning, and know that you are only hours from the keep at this point. As you get over to this hill, kind of cresting in the distance, you look off and can see the keep. For you guys, there's this sigh, just this weight that you breathe, and you can feel everything kind of gets off your shoulders. I'm going to snipe you with a die. And all right, there's the keep. You look off, for the first time Apex ever seeing this place in your life. There's not been drawings or anything, only descriptions of this grand kind of place. You see these huge walls that are completely surrounded by some sort of a moat. There's this drawbridge going across. You can see these 180 to 200 foot statues there's 4 of them kind of all like in this almost square shape. And then in the center of that, there's this large tower that at the very top of it is like some sort of a large glass window where you can see that this tower itself is probably close to 200, maybe 250 feet tall. The walls themselves probably at least 40 to 45 feet tall. The drawbridge is down. You can see a couple of people making their way in, some people making their way out. It's very, very nice, and it's this kind of warm energy around. As you're looking, you kind of look over at everybody, and they're just like they look completely different. They don't look as tense. They just have this like, oh God, there's the keep, and you can see this little bit of joy in their face as they're seeing the keep. As you start to make your way forward, if there's anything you want to do before that.
Yeah, any sort of etiquette I need to know before going in there? Like, if I take a bow or get on one knee,
No,
say hello,
that's fine.
or no.
Yeah, just don't start shit with them.
Try my best. No guarantees.
Sounds good. Ready to go with the key?
Oh, I've been waiting a long time for this.
Let's go.
I'm excited.
Let's start walking now.
Alright. So, as you guys begin making your way down this hill, it's only a little bit of a slope before you reach the other side of the drawbridge. For the four of you, which would be everyone excluding Apex, Simon, you kind of reflect like 2.5, 3 years ago when you first came to the keep, in the 73rd year, as now being the 76th, you're, looking out, stepping up, remembering all of those people that came here with you, remembering how little you feel like you knew then compared to now. Kind of take a breath. Look, people are walking past. Every now and then people kind of like catch a glimpse and look at you, smile, like this kind of big smile. You make your way into the actual entryway of the keep through the kind of archway where the drawbridge comes down. This is different architecture from what you've ever seen before. There's a lot of stone. There's a lot of very, very dark wood that is used in a lot of the buildings that are around here. You come into this large central square where there's a small store. There's like this little well over in the distance. People are making their way around, talking to one another. There's this large kind of rectangular building that has like this L shape where there's like a little plaza that has these archways where the barracks are. Then you look and can see the keep out in front of you, probably a good mile or so of a walk, where there are these large ascending steps into the actual keep. The doorway itself is 20 feet tall and about 15 feet wide. You can see people walking up it, walking down. There's a good amount of people here, and the most humans you've ever seen in one place. There's also a smattering of elves, the occasional gnome, a halfling, a dwarf. But there's a lot to kind of take in, but at the same time, this is a pretty nice place. You feel pretty safe being here as well. You haven't really had like shaking fear since Forsaza, but being here is calming. And for the rest of you, it's very relaxing and peaceful and lets you just kind of breathe for a moment and know that if anything were to happen, there's a lot of people here that have your back. Looking over to the side, speaking of those people, you see General Victor Harker kind of walking, makes his way actually over towards you guys. Looks like he's walking towards the I can't think of what those are called, but like the archway, there's like the spot above on the wall where they were standing, like where the guards would be. As he makes his way over towards to get up to the tower to get there, kind of sees you. Looks over. Still alive?
Alright.
Good. Keep it up. Who's this?
I am my days.
General Victor Harker. Takes his hand forward.
Nice to meet you.
Pretty sure the dean will be wanting to see you, so whenever you get the time.
I think you're about here. He's only like this place right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So different.
I just don't say.
Some nice architecture. A lot different where I'm from.
Not one for small talk.
Oh,
Good seeing you guys.
nice to meet you.
Turns around, walks off towards the wall.
Well, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, very, very, very nice lad. Grade class A.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick, actually.
What he said, I did. I don't know. I did.
Alright, have some things about this place. I don't know if they can hear what I'm saying at all times, so I don't want to say anything. But yeah, he seems like a nice guy. Yeah, nice guy. Let's go. All right.
It's hard to find a sign of a place to stay. I'll meet you guys in Kingbuckers. I'm gonna go to a shop.
I'm just kind of hearing you say that walks by me.
Oh, as I said. Oh, come on. I'm gonna try to find you something.
Okay, let's go. As you make your way over to the general store, where Nana Ann's is, give a little bit of a knock. Walking up, the door kind of opens up. You see Ava standing there.
Hello.
Skip,
Hi.
good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Is Finn back too?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, anyways, please come in. Oh, who is this?
This is Simon.
Simon Grexley. It's a pleasure to meet you. She kind of shakes the hand. What can I help you with?
We just got back from Zaxria. I'm on our way here to find Simon. I'm trying to find somewhere to give him a place to stay, per se. Do you know anywhere here that I could look for help?
I'm sure we could find somewhere for now. She kind of looks over to Simon, who is like muddy. Just looks like he's seen some shit. He's trying to like be pleasant and everything, but he's just like
Breaking down.
kind of shaking a little bit. Yeah. For now, how does some warm food and a nice seat by the fire sound? That would be great. Greatly appreciated.
What is your name?
She's in the back. She's painting currently, but I'm sure that she would love to see you.
What is it?
You guys make your way deeper into the shop. You can see that the store in here has actually been rearranged. A lot of the shelves have been pushed to the side. There are no more small, like kind of glass display cases. The amount of things that are here as well is not as much, but there's still a good amount of things that you need. A lot of the clutter that was towards the back has been organized and is in places. You also see a little older now, about 6, maybe 8, Aviana, her daughter. She's got her hair is like all the way, it's like probably grown to about mid-back and is in a ponytail and still is about that far down. She kind of sees you. Hi.
No,
Who are you?
I'm Skip. We met with you very, very good.
I kind of remember.
It's nice to see that you're big town better up.
Thank you.
Yes. Scoot past.
I like your helmet.
Thank you. It's made by the best.
She kind of just turns around and walks deeper in the shop. Kind of almost skips out towards the door. You can see that they have like pretty much made a home for themselves here now. They seem very comfortable as well. As you're like kind of talking in the shop, you kind of hear, "Is that Skip? It's Skip!" You hear like little footsteps coming through into the gateway. Yeah. She kind of walks over. Come here. Oh. She kind of gives a hug. You feel warm. Not cold.
Back from the desert and all that stuff.
No, but you're usually chilly.
I don't know. Maybe Aphealia's way of helping me out in a way. Who knows?
She's got like your hand. Like very, very tiny. Like she has like 2 fingers with her hand. It's like holding you.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I returned a little while after you guys had actually left for Asaj. But it's been good. The shop's been going good. Ava, even Avi helps out quite a bit.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
We are just stopping to keep it. I thought I might as well visit my favorite person here.
I won't tell you when you say it, but I know it to be true. So, you got a point to research.
This Simon, on our way back from Port Ruumanheim, we went to a shipment of some sort, or his crate or cart was knocked over in the rain and the bandits. It was bad. It was very bad. We saved his life. You're trying to find him somewhere.
All right.
What's his name?
All right. Well, for now, I guess you could stay here.
I would appreciate that.
Simon, are you all right? Yes, the stew is good too. Thank you. If you can like take some eats. Right. Well, for now, it's good. Is Finn back too?
He's not. He went back to the place that Cullen should be magic or whatever.
Well, is everyone all right?
Oh, everyone is fine. Yes. Everyone's good.
All right.
Sorry, it's been a very long trip.
It's understandable. I'll leave it at that then. All right. She kind of turns, makes her way back towards the back
I
of the shop.
stand up. Well, it was nice seeing you. I have to go meet with the dean.
Very well.
Walk out. I forget about it. Go up to the dean's office.
As you make your way towards the doorway, he kind of walks over. Thank you again. I want to be here without you.
It's just doing my job.
He kind of like,
I put my hand on.
do you live in the woodworking or carpentry? Anything, you let me know.
Keep that in mind.
Nice.
And I walk out.
All right. Anything you guys want to do before making your way to the dean's office? All right. Making your way into the commons, it's very clean. All of the tables that are on the inside are being like wiped down and stuff. There's a lot of the working staff that's kind of around the keep doing their job and whatnot. Kind of look over and see the four portraits. As you walk in, there are these four huge pillars that are kind of showing this large ceiling, and then on the sides on these walls, there's like 5 by 5 portraits of people that are like up on the sides of the walls and things. Kind of glance at them and then follow suit as you kind of like are looking. See all of everything, the architecture. It's very nice, very serene. Kind of look and see the rest of the group still walking forward. They kind of get a little bit ahead of you. You look back, see Apex just kind of looking and staring at everything as you get to the bottom of the steps. This way.
Yeah, well, everything's good. Found you.
All right. As you begin climbing and ascending the steps towards the dean's office, it's a little bit of a climb. You remember it being a little wild to just get up there. You know, it's on a couple floors up, and there's just stairs. So as you get up to the large open area where all of the offices are, you can see the dean's office towards the back, where the wall, the door, kind of down the hallway is. Go in as you wish. Come in.
No problems.
Open the door up to see the dean sitting down, his hands properly in front of him as he looks out. Stands up as he sees all of you. Welcome back to Zaxria. I knew that you would do it. Seeing that you're here means that whatever it was in Azosh has been dealt with, I assume? Moreover, I would assume so. Please, some of you take a seat and greetings.
Hello. On my face.
With his hands kind of behind his back, he walks forward towards you. He's not like very tall. He's probably only about 6 feet, but the way he stands makes him seem taller. Very upright and proper. Walks over towards you, takes a hand out. Dean Alchemies.
Oh, nice to meet you. Your friends keep us too?
You could say that.
Or no?
Please, those of you who don't want to sit.
Upon request from the king, we were asked to bring Apex here for further study into this sort of magics.
He's got crazy hard hand things. But how do you explain what? I'll be able to show you.
That's all right. I'll send you in the direction of more knowledgeable individuals than myself who will be able to help you.
You maybe fandom could help. Possibly.
Certainly. The dean just kind of like looking intently at you for a moment.
Just implausible, isn't
If you do not mind, Apex, is it? Yes? Saying that right?
it? I won't see it.
If you could please, he kind of points towards the doorway, just out in the hall for a moment, so I can speak with the keepers.
Oh, yeah, sure. No problem.
Make your way, walk over, make your way out the door. Well, it's good to see you, at least. Glad you are spirits, but I see that the numbers are dwindling a little bit. Where are Finn and Orm?
The last teacher the Lyceum and learned more.
Orm wanted to go back home and to do stuff on place.
Focus on his God. He felt not in touch with further the connection.
Well, I would like to say that things are going off without a hitch, but there are things that need to be attended to. But for now, please, take your time. The barracks are just as you had left them. We've been keeping them clean. Rest for the night. Have some sort of dinner or feast tomorrow if you wish. If I may ask though, this Apex individual, what is your take on him?
A little crazy, but can be trusted. My opinion so far.
You did hear what I said about the claw things? Pretty
Because
cool.
it's a very outstanding.
Well, hopefully Fandel and possibly Fletcher will be able to figure that out. Connor, if you would, accompany Apex and also learn of what it is that we came here to find out exactly.
Will do.
Kind of nods. For now, as I said, rest, enjoy your stay back. Stay as long as you want, actually.
Awesome. On our way back from the Zosh, we ran across the shipwreck where we found a one survivor whose name is Simon. He's a carpenter. He's trying to make his way over to Brunswick. We had him accompany us here because we figured it'd be the safest way. So any carpentry work that's needed around here, we should be able to help with.
I've been speaking with some of the other professors here, and we've had an idea of something we want to have constructed, so he may be a good individual to do so for us. I'll send someone to retrieve him, and I'll speak with him myself. Don't want to keep Apex waiting, though, and if you had brought him to the keep, I'd imagine it's something urgent, at least, maybe? Yes, hopefully.
It's kind of shrouded in mystery so far.
Well, again, good to see you, and I'm glad everyone is well. So, there is one more thing that I wish to discuss with you, but we'll touch on it tomorrow at the feast. Leans back. Stands up as you guys also exit. You guys make your way out. The door opens up.
Really, thanks. Nice to meet you. Friends Keepers. You know them? Oh, really? No, I didn't. Oh, hey, name's Apex. Nice to meet
You
you.
see all the professors that are kind of walking up. Fandel now in front of Apex. Pleasure. Nice to meet you,
Thanks.
Fandel.
This place is just amazing.
Hey, keepers. Good to see you. Professor kind of walks over, just kind of gives a nod, doesn't like walk up and hug or anything. So, what brings you back to the keep?
The job in Azash is finished.
Good to hear.
Second note, maybe you and possibly Fletcher can help me with helping Apex here.
What's wrong with Apex?
I wish I knew.
Seem alright to me. Nice fella, introduce yourself, say hello, give me a handshake.
I think it would be better if we were in private and he should.
He's kind of alright, very well. Just the three of us, or should I retrieve Fletcher as well?
If we can get Fletcher here, it would probably be more beneficial.
Alright, well, he's down the same hallway, so I'll give him a knock on the way. Alright. He makes his way down. You guys begin walking. Andrew and Skip, is there anything you guys want to do while they are doing this?
Fair.
Fair?
Sleep.
Alright.
What's his name?
Okay.
Yeah, Mikhail.
Alright. Looking at his office, he's not there currently, so make your way down to go and find him. You do, however, find his room during this time, which is locked. If you're walking past, you kind of like try to open it up. Somebody that's like kind of cleaning is standing there.
What is Professor Mikhail?
Professor Mikhail is actually within Tenebeth right now. He had to go and do some sort of writing for them in the books, as he's one of the only people able to write within. He's also supposed to retrieve some books himself. He's not currently here right now, though.
Okay. Switch this one to go to where is it?
Got
Right.
Alright. Apex for you. You start making your way down the stairs with Connor and Vandal. Vandal on the way down, just got talking to you. So, Apex, where are you from?
It's Osh.
Ah, really?
Nice place.
You're from the capital.
Yeah, I've been there. You're not really from there.
Where are you from then?
It's really far south. Probably never heard of it.
Ah, small village or tribe or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Alright, well, just figured I'd ask. Once Fletcher gets in here, at this point you've made your way into the room. This room that you see is much like a classroom. There are also lots of books on the walls. There's like a scroll case behind this large wooden desk. That's where he kind of makes his way over to. Take a seat anywhere you like. There's just a bunch of small chairs behind tables. As you sit down, a little bit of time passes. Connor's in here. Connor immediately makes his way over towards a bookshelf. Vandal stands up. Actually, it may behoove us a little better if we go into Fletcher's room. He's got more books on everything. So, actually, if you don't mind, what exactly is it that we're looking into?
Something inside me, I think. That's why I describe it.
Could you possibly elaborate or give a demonstration?
Yeah. Well, it is. It can't. Should we do this right now?
Vandal pretty much just asked him if he would give a little bit of a demonstration.
Do this right now?
Yeah, just don't destroy anything.
Oh yeah, please don't destroy anything. They just cleaned in here.
Alright.
He says, you can trust him.
Run to the door, open it, look out into the hallway.
As you do, somebody is there, drops a scroll and
Oh shit, sorry. Name's Apex.
Fletcher. Professor Fletcher.
Nice to meet you. I'm a friend of the keepers.
A friend of mine then.
Oh, right on.
Vandal. Yeah, make your way inside. Come on now.
Oh, come on in. It's time to party.
So what is it that I'm doing here?
We were requested by the king of the trash to bring Apex here, because he has some strange powers, I guess you can say. I've never seen anything like it or read anything.
Are they arcane?
I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know what that means, so.
It doesn't look like any enchanting or anything like that.
Alright,
Sounds
well,
pretty smart, yeah.
we can, I guess if we see it, know a little better.
You know, Alright. So everyone looking at me, but I guess I'm gonna put my hand out. Start doing it.
Your claws. As it happens, and the black kind of ichor starts to form with the flesh. And it doesn't like melt it away, it just overtakes it and blends with it. A claw forms. And now kind of puts an eyebrow up. Looks back at you.
I'm not touching it. Very sharp. Sharpest blade I've ever seen. Not sure how it does it.
Fletcher gets close, has like a quill, and kind of taps on it. Extraordinary. Does it hurt?
I don't think so. Not really. Hurts other people.
Fletcher kind of looking tightly. And I don't think that's arcane. If I had to take a guess, I'm going to say no on that front. This is a little out of my depth for sure, but I think we could get down to some answers here.
This is what we're gonna do.
Fletcher, let's make our way over to my classroom. There's a little bit more of a repertoire of books. And maybe some that could bring us in the direction of what this is. I've been over them several times, but maybe didn't know what I was looking for exactly.
I'll do a few other things. Sometimes there's rain and I don't even know what I'm doing sometimes.
Start walking out into the hallway, make your way into the other room. At this point in the other room, Fletcher and Vandal are kind of over by the bookcase. The two of you are kind of standing next to one another. You can see them talking back and forth. You see probably at least 1,000 or so books.
What the hell? How are you? No help at all? How'd you organize it? You just put them on the shelf randomly? Oh. Yeah, it's not. Yep, well, act like all that means. I've read a book in my life.
You hear Fletcher? Connor, I'm trying to find something related to the Shadowfell, possibly. That could be an option. Also looking for something into Rhinehelms. Maybe something correlates. Maybe parasitic bonds, fungal diseases.
Maybe you should also tell them about reading minds or whatever you can do.
Oh, yeah. You know a guy named Leawood?
I do not. Fletcher does. I'm afraid not. No, never heard of it.
There was some really mean people. They ambushed us when we were on the road to come here. Kind of like, it's like in his, like the guy was in his brain or whatever, in his head, and like, now he's in my head. I like stuck my fingers into his head, kind of.
Both kind of like back.
And I like, all of a sudden I saw like that guy, like I saw him in his face, like I know what he looks like, and I was like, from his perspective, I was like watching the alien guy, and he was like explaining how he wanted 1,000 gold for everyone's head, and they were all like celebrating and having a great time, and he seemed like a really, really mean kind of guy, to be honest. And no, I'm really good friends with him.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
All right. Understand. Got a lot going on. Sounds similar to spells I've heard of, but the way in which you do it, you don't have any magical background, eh?
I won't say so. No.
Now, when this occurs, do you will it to happen, or does it happen on its own?
I like to say mostly. Will it?
What do you mean by mostly?
As in, like, not all the time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, let me and Fletcher do some reading. Connor possibly too. Is there any other information you want to tell us that could help us with finding this out?
Do something else, I guess. I don't know. Does it do more
Anything
things?
else?
Alright. Turn my other arm into a sword.
Fletcher kind of looks. How long have you been able to do these things?
Yeah. Not really with time. Seems about this tall. About like this tall maybe?
You've been able to do it since birth.
No, not this tall. Not this tall.
So you have not been able to do it since birth.
No.
Did something occur that gave you these capabilities?
Yeah. I think I'm not really sure.
Prior to meeting the keepers, what's the last thing you remember?
Walking around in the jungle. I think.
Before that?
Turn his arm back to normal.
Yeah, as you do that, you're in a safe place. You only need to help. You don't have to hide anything from us.
I don't really know. Alright. Kind of blocked out a little bit. Yeah. I hit on the head. Nope, the head feels good. I can't remember.
Trying to pull some sort of timeline here. So this time period where things are blocked out, you don't remember much. Prior to that, what do you remember?
You put me through a mental loop right now. I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
You're doing the same to me, so I've never seen anything that you have. He kind of looks and sees as a black vein kind of moves its way up and then goes towards your neck. That's...
Oh yeah, there it goes, right there. Oh, there's one. You see him?
Him.
Or it? I don't know. Whatever it is.
Kind of looks.
Oh, I got something else to show you. I feel like a small little knife or quill laying around or something like that.
Oh, the quill that he used to kind of tap on your blade. He has it like in his hand.
I see that. Hold right there. He just goes like, opens up a wound in his arm. Oh, here you go.
I don't want it back. Just set it on the table. Kind of looks. You watch a lot more closely now as where that hole where he just stabbed is. Also take 3 points of piercing.
Right
Where
on.
that hole where he got stabbed is. The blood that's like kind of pooling off the sides. There's also like this black ichor that starts pulling the muscle back together. The blood still kind of drips. It doesn't get like picked up and absorbed. So there's just like the hole closes itself up. The blood's still dripping. Dries a little bit on the arm. Wound's closed. It's miraculous. Not like an intelligence check for Fletcher and no holy shit. Fletcher knows everything. And Del knows nothing. This is a little out of my depth. If this was magical, I'd be able to tell you what it is, or send you in the right direction of someone who does know, but for me, Fletcher kind of looks. If I had to assume, I would say whatever that is living. Trying to make sure that there's some sort of a relationship here. There's something that is within your body that was not at birth, so you came across it at some point. It could be some sort of a parasite native to the Zash. Are there any that you know of? You make an intelligence check also. Sheriff, just in your room.
17. Yes, 17.
17. Okay. Looking at this kind of hearing fan, I'll say that that's probably around the same thing you're thinking makes the most sense.
Yeah.
That there's something in there alive. There's some form of a relationship. That's as much as you can kind of base it on. Nothing native to Azash that could have clung to you. It could be some sort of
I've been bit by him. Who knows how many bugs on his ocean? There's a ton of them.
well, then I will get a small book and try looking into several of them, seeing if any of them have similar qualities that they met with a bite that could cause this, but never heard of anything like it. Have you ever heard of anything or anyone who is similar to you, having the same capabilities of you? Anything of that nature?
I'm really drawing my brain. Having a hard time.
The Kansas sent to us because they had no clue about what it
You know just as much as they do. For now, rest. I imagine your journey here was long. We'll get more into everything later on. Connor, if I could, I would. Kind of stepped over to the side. For now, I imagine the Dean is going to want to keep him close. Sure, whatever that is, from what I'm gathering, it's alive. There's something in there. Do you agree, or any other thoughts?
For the most part, I agree. I have no clue.
Mind the Dean, though, he's going to want to try to keep close, under control. He's capable of doing things like that. Who knows what whatever it is inside, if it were to take full control, could do. For now, though, we'll be alright. I'll figure it out. I'll start reading into books. Just keep it close. Alright. I'll do what I can. I'll begin reading. I've narrowed it down to a few books now at this point. If I need any more, I'll reach out to have them sent to you. It was a pleasure, though, Apex. Shake your hand. Vandal. Wish I could have been of more help, but that's all I got. If you ever need anything that has to do with magic, you head my way. Only 2 doors down. Gives a nod. The 2 of you make your way out of Fletcher's room as he begins delving into some books. What do you wish to do?
Can't remember. Did I show things out my compendium?
You received the compendium when you went to the Lyceum.
Exactly.
Yes, you did. You did show.
Okay.
He does now.
I'll just show Apex around now.
Okay, show prodigy and stuff.
Go back
Go for a little walk around,
Sure, why not?
show you where banks are at the end, where we can sleep and everything like that.
Sure, why not?
Alrighty. So, as you begin walking around, Connor shows you a good amount of the keep. It takes a good 3.5 to 4 hours to do just that, as it's a good 3 mile in length facility or institution, whatever you'd like to call it. But nonetheless, after that, he brings you to the barracks, where you are brought inside to a very, very dim interior. There's like torchlight. There's several rooms that kind of go down the hallway there. You can see at this point, Moldrak is just kind of sitting at this table with this huge thing of meat in front of him and just like picking it up, eating it. As you guys probably just made rations and created food with no taste to it. So he's just tearing into this huge chunk of like roast or something. He kind of like picks it up. Want them? There is some if you want.
Oh, sure. It sounds great.
You probably want to eat it over this end. I have dug my fingers into this one.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
Alright. He just starts eating it, and you guys start to slowly relax and fall asleep within the barracks. Waking up the next day, is there anything you want to do before going to the dinner? As you know that there's going to be a small one held with like the dean and other officers and such.
Am I sleeping near anyone?
So the way the rooms were before, Skip and Andrew were in a room together. You shared a room with Moldrak? Or no, you had a room by yourself. Right, Finn and Moldrak had a room together. And then there is an empty room now, as Forum is not here, Orion, or all of those other people. So the far end room, I believe, is yours, right? And then coming in one more is Finn and Moldrak, and then there's like an empty room, then Skip and Andrew by the door, because for some reason you guys would race to open the door first. But that room between Skip and Andrew, between Finn and Moldrak, so it's just Connor, Moldrak, empty room, Skip and Andrew.
Empty room.
If you choose to do so. There's only one bed in Connor's room. There's also another room that just has nothing but beds piled inside of it, and like a little bit of like small wood carvings.
You just deliver with a bunch of beds and shit.
Yeah.
No one is around me when I go to bed, then I'll just go the next day.
Got it. Alrighty. So, making your way to the keep as the day passes. Nobody wants to do anything. Just going to the dinner.
I would let Simon know that he may have some word
Oh, okay.
from the dean.
Okay, that's fine. Ready? So, making your way into the dinner. The commons have been kind of closed off for this like private meal that the five of you and the dean are having, along with Professor Fletcher, Professor Fantel. There is also Professor Windsor is there, and Professor the Dragonborn individual. I can't think of his name. I believe it might be Galliot, something along those lines. And Professor Glendella. It's not Galiox, it's something else. You'll find it after. But these professors are all here, the dean is here, and you guys are here as well. Keepers, Apex, please have your seats. Wherever you like. Food will be prepared momentarily, so if you're hungry, there's plenty of it. Moldrak just sits, looks around, waiting. All right. It's alright if you can't find it. Alrighty. So, as you're sitting here, probably about 3 to 5 minutes pass of you being there. The professor is speaking amongst themselves, the dean kind of keeping to himself. General Harker makes his way into the room. As you're sitting there, the dean is just kind of leaning back. General Harker's also sitting, everyone's just kind of waiting around. We're just waiting on 2 more guests, and then we'll be ready to begin. A little bit more time passes, and it's probably only 10 or so minutes of you being there all together that the doors, like to the kind of commons area where the food is, open up. The dean stands up, kind of looks over. Other guests. Keepers, I'm going to have you. Well, this is kind of hard to explain, but he kind of points out. This is Neris and Zarvax. He kind of points over, and as he gestures his hand outward, you see 2 individuals. You see an almost elven-appearing woman. Her ears a little pointier than a normal elf. Her skin is this kind of pale gray. She has these pale gray eyes. Her hair is this like silverish white color with these almost like blue frosted tips on them. You can see that the clothing is very basic. She has on these kind of like dark black leather pants. You can see that her features are very, very sharp, as most elves are. She has this very, very kind of, I wouldn't say like upright posture, but she is kind of standing pretty tall. She's not enormously tall. She's probably like 5'9" or so, very slender, kind of walking over towards you. You also see, standing next to her, a dragonborn. Large kind of build. He's probably also closer to 7 or so feet tall, maybe in between 6 or so. Kind of larger chest. His skin is like this bronze, kind of scaly looking hue to it. And then towards the edges of it, you can see there's almost like this golden hue that is to it. He has this huge great axe on his back that he's like walking up. Very intimidating presence that he has too. He's not like walking forward with like a smile, like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. He's just kind of like walking and staring very intently, kind of looks over at Ander for a moment and locks eyes with you for a second. And then you kind of look away like, oh, shit. As the two of them walk forward, the dean's standing up. Since your venture to Azosh, many things have happened on Aphelia. Smatterings of different things throughout, but there is a bit of an outbreak, if you call it that, happening in Port Ruumanheim. A small town outside of there as well is also afflicted by it. And Neris and Zaravex had came to me previous, probably a few months ago, prior to you being here. They're very capable individuals, and seeing as how your numbers are depleted, I want them to go with you. I would not say they are keepers, or honorary keepers for that matter, but they have a mission and a goal, and I believe that what it is pure and good, and it aligns with what we want to do for all of Zaxria. So I wish for them to go with you, but for now, we'll dine and we'll eat. And he kind of sits down. The two of them sit next to each other, kind of sitting down, staring across at you. They haven't said anything yet. Zarvex puts his arms up on the table, kind of leaning there, sitting over, looking at all of you. Yeah, kind of. There's moments where he doesn't even blink. He just kind of stares at you, looks over to the next person, over to Skip, back over to Connor, over to Moldrak. Moldrak, who just kind of sits up a little higher in his seat.
Like he was so good.
What? You see Neris as she's sitting there. She kind of has her elbow up on the arm. And as she has her elbow up on the arm, she kind of reaches forward towards a small bit of portion of food that's there. And she reaches towards it, kind of puts it up to her shoulder. And as she does, you watch this small little scaly creature come up onto her shoulder. And as it sits there, it's this pale white, small dragon. As it's sitting there, kind of like opens its mouth up. The wings kind of expand a little bit and close down. And from what I've told, that is Wraithyar, or Wraith. And that's where we'll pick it up next week. Thank you for watching. We appreciate the support that is given. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week. Now you can